suis prête à tout pour toi. Tu peux m'aider, c'est normal, c'est mon choix. Je t'aime bien, je crois que je t'ai vu un peu. Même maintenant t'es beau, j'ai rêvé que de toi. T'es mon prince dans le château. Mais quand je parle, je te mets direct au fond. L'amour c'est compliqué, les sentiments sont profonds. Je t'aime bien.
Twitch cannot stop us, friends. Welcome to the Unite European Cup. It's day 3. We're back in Group A. And how about this? With day 3 comes 3 personalities on the English stream. You got myself, Relic. You got over to the left, Digital Bacon, and then the further left, it's Doob Snacks. It's the Doob Snacks, everyone. Let's start with you, Snacks. How are you doing, my friend? Of course, World Championships the last time you saw you. Been having a nice break.
Having a great time, you know, Unite Mike's Mayhem off and rolling, trying to support the community just like the Unite European Cup as well. So I'm excited to be here and keep that train going, keep my casting skills sharp.
Choo-choo. And Digital Bacon, of course, nice and sharp, not just on the casting side, but on the production side as well. It's been a real, not as sharp and in focus as me, by the way, super blurry Mr. Toaster over here, but we've been having a great time overall, haven't we? Through the trials and tribulations, you know, we've had some fantastic Pokemon Unite, and all here, of course, on the official English stream on the Unite Battle Hub. We do, of course, hope that Pump is able to go live himself in the near future.
Yes, we're assuming that Pump's going to be able to go live within the next 15 minutes. We got lucky ourselves, I guess. Just like after click spamming, start streaming over on OBS as many times as we could, and we finally were able to push on through to you lovely folks at home so we can bring you the action at past. So we've got another, roughly for you guys anyway, it'll be 11 minutes until we can, of course, start bringing through the drafts. But for now, James, let's have a cheeky little look at the groups and start talking about the teams we've got today, hey?
Yes, so if you joined us yesterday, you would have enjoyed some Group B action where Italy and Switzerland were able to take 3-1 victories over their counterparts Sweden and Portugal. And it was a similar sort of scoreline story in Group A on day 1. We had Germany taking on Spain. Really could have gone either way. Could have gone the distance in our best of 5 series. Ended up 3-1. I think a little bit unfair ultimately in the end on Spain. We have France versus United Kingdom, and really that one should have been a 3-0, but United Kingdom able to scrape away a win. So none of these teams have been swept as of yet. Neither have we had a series go the distance. But Snacks, we're looking at Germany. We're looking at France. I think especially considering the composition of their rosters, we were expecting them to do well. We were expecting Spain to do well as well. UK less so, but today's an important day for all 4 of these teams because we could have eliminations out of the tournament as early as here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as you just broke down here, Germany and France are both looking to punch their ticket into the next stage of this competition. Spain and UK, on the other hand, they're fighting from underneath, and they're trying to keep their tournament dreams alive because, if I'm not mistaken, this group squares off again on Saturday, and that's a long time to sit on these losses if you pick them up today.
It's a lot of time to stew, isn't it? I guess it doesn't matter so much if you find yourself already out of the competition. By Saturday, it's just a time to regroup and hopefully get some pride, get a series win, Bacon, by the time of Saturday, right? But if you are on the precipice of qualifying today, if you are Germany or France, and if you don't make it through today, then that's starting to sow seeds of doubt, which might very well affect them in a few days' time.
Yeah, it's all about the sort of like safety aspect there, I guess, where you then can get a couple of days where you can focus on the new patch and come up with a new strategy. Because, I mean, that's the elephant in the room right now, right? That we've got a new patch right there. We can confirm for the folks at home that both Scizor/Cypher, I guess, and Mew are currently going to just be banned. You know, with a little bug in the game, we're just there going, you know what, they're not up for the table. You don't have to force ban that if you're one of the 2 teams. We're just going to remove them off for the rest of the tournament, and all the teams are absolutely fine with that. But if you do get that little bit of a breather, that's going to be so useful for these teams to come up with new strats ready to go on in, because we have seen a couple of things like a little bit of a nerf to Mr. Mime and, of course, Glaceon in there are basically our 2 biggest sort of threats at the moment in the meta.
Yeah, what I coined as the Toon Slim conundrum yesterday. We're not going to have that anymore. You can't just ban Mew and then, hey, here's a Glaceon. No, Mew is completely out of the picture. And Snacks, I think that's going to certainly leave a lot of sweats unsweated on a lot of foreheads today, because that is a serious utility attacker that's now off the table. And let's delve a little bit deeper into that Mr. Mime nerf, because really everything and anything revolved around Mr. Mime for the last month or so, getting a nerf to its Power Swap and Psychic abilities. We don't know how that's going to affect things long term. We expect it might still be one of the favored picks on that support role, but not as powerful and not as all-encompassing a role as we've seen in the last 30 days or so.
Well, since it is new, fresh off the patch, I'd be surprised if teams immediately dismissed it, right? Let's see exactly what the stress test is on this Mr. Mime. Of course, you mentioned Glaceon. Cooldown increase on that Icy Wind. But the thing that I've got my eyes on is the changes to all of the Pokemon on the map, those wild Pokemon. Of course, Escavalier, Selgor will be giving a little bit less experience, more in line with what what those two buff Pokemon were giving on Remote Stadium, and that Xatu, of course, has its experience lowered. So the rotation through the jungle won't have your central area people as beefy as when they're pulling into lanes. And of course, we saw a Regice boost, so that may change the priority to their 5%. 5% HP back over 3 seconds, I believe, is where that landed. And Rayquaza HP down. So it can be burned down a little bit easier, which it definitely seems like a seesaw of opinion on where that stands. Personally, I loved the robust HP. It really flexed the game into a different direction. But we'll see if these teams say, hey, that's enough HP reduction for us to burn it down and kind of bring us back to the days of the Flippy Rippy. So we'll see what happens. I mean, this is the first go we have in this patch, so this is definitely going to be these teams being able to showcase their ability to read patch notes and adjust the fastest.
Well, that sort of change to Rayquaza for me makes a lot of sense, right? Because we've been seeing, especially over this weekend so far, but then like the past month in ranked play, that players are leaving Rayquaza a lot later, past the 1 minute mark. So you don't really have that chance for a bit of a rebuttal. We don't have the issues, of course, with like we did with Zapdos, where it was just instantly dunking and dunking. So this now gives the chance for that last ditch attempt, you know, one big huddle up, the ball attack, where you essentially charge one of the two paths and then try and get as many through, so you get maybe a little bit of a flip-flop there.
Here's the thing, though. I think that health decrease for Rayquaza or Rayquaza, I don't think it's as necessarily like in-depth an argument as the Arceus Arceus like debate, because I think that one's been put to bed pretty simply. But I look at that health decrease and I feel as if it's going to be a more tempting target, because I think all too often we're looking at that particular flip. It's not as, of course, an egregious a flip as we see with Zapdos, but it is something that can still turn the tides in your favor. We saw actually with Sweden yesterday. We saw them get it and find success with it, but not enough success because we had that Switzerland points lead be a little bit too big at that moment in time. But Snacks, I think I want to go back to that central area debate, because really we've been seeing a lot of different strategies on Thea Sky Ruins. You know, we've seen everything from the classic solo queue of 2 top, 2 bottom, 1 in the central area. We've even seen things as crazy as 2 Pokemon sharing the central area split. I don't think we're going to be seeing any more of that in the near future, especially as that XP is going to be at a premium.
Yeah, the other thing that's worth considering too, and something we actually saw very recently on Tuesday in the Unite Mike's Mayhem, is actually a 1-1-3 based on who they were bringing into battle here, and which path they wanted to focus on historically, or I guess traditionally, on Thea Sky Ruins. It's been the top path with the Regieleki, and then what I like to call the basement Regis, the other 3 that kind of seem to just be cast out and let down there. But we saw things like setting a Larvitar alone up top to really buy time and sway, so you have this huge over rotation to a Larvitar who cares, but then you get to blow up the bottom path. So again, there's tons of opportunities to flex here. I want to see, what's going to be interesting to me is who are Azumarill players out there too. If we're just like chucking stuff at the wall, because that's what I'm doing. big patch winner here. If you're talking about specific playable Pokemon, it evolves earlier, gets its moves earlier, and if you've just been honing your Azumarill skills, this might be the day to step up and show out, because I can guarantee not a lot of these players have gone like, better bash some games against Azumarill and see what that looks like. Make sure our composition is squared up. So that could be another opportunity for success.
Yeah, another Pokemon that got a buff as well was Slowbro, one which I think we're all a little bit confused by, but we've seen Slowbro near enough be part of the meta right now for the longest time ever, and across the last couple of days, it's even near enough Slowbro or Snorlax in the fold, so Slowbro getting those buffs. I wonder if they're just going to be, outright banned now, because we have one less Mon to think about with the ban system, and with those two, alongside, say, Mamoswine, you've got 3 very viable defenders at the moment to pick from.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like a package deal, isn't it? We'll try and nerf Mr. Mime, and we'll get Slowbro with a buff in there as well, just to make sure that they're absolutely, curbed to the or stomped to the curb on this particular occasion, probably by Serena, I imagine. And to be fair, I actually want to also give a shout out to Blastoise and Wigglytuff, 2 other winners from the patch. And Snacks, what we see here is increases to damage dealt in their base forms. With Squirtle, both of those base moves get a damage increase. With Jigglypuff, of course, the only damage dealing move being Pound, that gets an increase. But their Unite move charge rates, they have seen an increase. And so mid-game to late game, hopefully we'll see more Blastoise, more Wigglytuff making more of an impression. Wigglytuff more so, I'd imagine, with those stuns.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made that why ban a defender when there's such a deep pool of defenders to begin with, right? So is that where you want to be? When you can really try and hedge against some of the stronger attacking Pokemon that you've got available to you. Slowbro buff on the Surf is amazing. The telekinesis cooldown reduction is amazing. And I mean, it was just an utter tragedy that Mew's Surf was stronger than Slowbro's Surf in terms of what it actually did when you think specifically of crowd control. So me personally, as somebody that likes to queue up with Slowbro, I like seeing that. The other thing is huge, and it goes directly into the Rayquaza HP reduction, is the Wigglytuff Unite, which is historically a huge 5-on-5 team battle unite. Well, all of a sudden that becomes more relevant, right? Because if everybody's coalescing to the middle and doing 5-on-5, just banging heads together and then taking the objective or just burning it down, Wigglytuff's premium skyrockets. So that's going to be the big question today. Is this Rayquaza HP nerf big enough to change how teams are going to be playing? I mean, most teams you see, they'll get a lead and then they'll literally put hard attacker up top, hard attacker in bottom, and then your 3 front line in the middle, and then they're just kind of shot calling where they're pivoting to and saying, okay, they're engaging on this Rayquaza, let's take a team fight while they're engaged somewhere else, on the objective itself. That might not be an option anymore. You might not have time to collapse if the whole team chucks everything in the kitchen sink into that objective Rayquaza and gets the winds of change in their favor.
I think you're spot on. I think you pose a really good question. I'd be really worried if we saw, one of the most popular Pokemon from the first 2 days has been Charizard, for example. I think that in combination with a Wigglytuff Unite move would be devastation. But actually, we've seen a bit of a nerf to Charizard. They have a bit of a buff when it comes to their Fire Punch, I think, initial stack, but not the plus stack. There's a bit of a downgrade overall when it comes to the Unite move itself, Bacon.
That for me is a bit of a nothing here, because we've been seeing it's been the Charizard Flamethrower Fire Blast set anyway, because the Fire Blast itself is so good at stopping you from scoring because it covers the entirety of the goal. So that's more the utility there, and Flamethrower just does a great chunk of damage anyway. So Charizard isn't currently being used as that sort of brawler to jump in and pounce one-on-one. Instead, it's just being part of big group fights, which it excels at the moment.
We are a few minutes out from drafts, and so I think perhaps it is time now to have a little focus in on our first matchup of the day, that being Team Germany versus Team United Kingdom. And Snacks, we have ourselves Germany with the likes of Gatlu, of Ebeling / Wash Rookie. I think he wants to go by Ebeling. Really, the least experienced player on that Germany roster is JJ, who has not played a game since the tournament started. It has been that 5 of X-Plane, Marv, Nazu, Rookie, and Gatlu. Whereas you look at the UK, and we were looking at that roster, and sure, you have Brav, a Nouns esports guy, you know, got a lot of experience behind him. You got Toon Slim, for me, one of the attackers to look out for heading into year 2 of the Unite Championships. Such a deadly threat on Mew, on Glaceon. Of course, we don't have that Mew threat, so we might see Toon Slim force onto a different attacker if Germany do choose to go for the target ban. But you look at Ku, you look at Plaz, you look at Wuking, you look at Final Push. We didn't actually see Wuking in their first matchup against France, but Ku, Plaz, and Final, they had their moments. But they also seem to lack a bit of composure in some clutch moments. They put up some good stats, but it wasn't necessarily the team synergy that we were looking for. They've had a couple of days to go away and work on this. Realistically, how much of a chance do you give them against the Germany side that we are expecting to make it through to the playoffs?
Well, before I'll dissect UK, let me talk about Germany real quick. If you've been tuning into the UCS, you know exactly who these players are, with the potential exception of JJ, who hasn't gotten a lot of mileage. But everyone else is a top 4 UCS player, right? I mean, we know what they bring to the table. That is just a howitzer of firepower that they're bringing to the table. You know, you look from Gatlu, Blaine, I mean, both Worlds players, you know, Yerman Burger Flippers for Blaine, Marv, Insane Lucario player. Nazu actually choosing the Azumarill, so this could be their opportunity to spike here. And of course, Washed Rookie, aka Eberling, in the mix too. So Germany, we know exactly what we're measured up against. If you're talking about the UK, however, their ceiling is exponentially high and their floor is just naturally lower because they have a lot of rookies on this team. So this is what I want to see out of team. This is what I want to see out of Team UK. You're not going to be the most consistent team. Your most consistent as a team is going to be a lower bar than the most consistent results out of the Germany team. So what you have to do is you have to change what the axis that you're attacking these teams on. You don't want to be the most consistent. You actually want to turn into the most volatile squad, because that's your opportunity to gain big time advantages. And yes, your losses are going to look egregious, but you have to understand that your skill level actually sits in the middle, and be okay with those big losses, with the trade of getting those big time wins. And if it's hyper feeding into Toon and letting Bruv take over with Mime, and everyone else is just an experience funnel to them, great. If it's, you know, if it's stacking bottom lane 4 in a row and just saying bottom path is where we're going to be and we're just going to blow this thing apart, who cares about Regieleki? Who cares how many points we're giving up? Let's just get as many as we can the other way, and heck, get a couple of those basement Regis and then make the fight about Rayquaza. Or you can go into that full rip Rayquaza composition and say, hey, we're just going to play our best defense for 8 minutes, and then we're just going to unleash, unload, and everything's firing into the middle, and try and control how much experience you send into Germany's hands, because we know they can scrap, we know they can fight, we know they can take KOs. So if I'm UK, I'm on the drawing board and I'm saying, what is the most volatile strategy we can bring to the table? And let's execute as many of those over this best of 5 as we can, because that is going to open up the biggest opportunity for them to shock Germany, get themselves into a 1-1 record, and keep their tournament hopes alive.
The issue for Team UK, though, guys, was just that they felt too much like they were a group of individuals. They were not a whole team together back on Monday. We saw Toon Slim absolutely popping off, as we know. We saw Bruv being a great little distractor, trying to bait on in the opponents, and Co there as well was brilliant to look for the assist, but there wasn't an exact game plan, and that's something that we need to see change up for this Team UK. They've got a day off, of course, there's a new patch, but should roughly work pretty similarly to before. Like we said, the big change was up in the central area, where we're just seeing a bit of a change in XP, but Team UK, if they come in with a plan A and plan B, pretty much what they didn't have back on Monday, that's where we're going to see them step up, because they're still in this race to make it to Sunday.
Yeah, Corinne, I think actually out of the entire squad, she's going to be someone that I watch with great interest. She is a Blissey main through and through, and actually her numbers across all 4 of those games against Germany were really good, but it falls back to the problem that sort of befell a lot of her teammates in team fights or in 2v2 scenarios. It was just that one lapse in concentration, or that one mistake, where we started to see everything unravel. If she's able to get a little bit more consistency into her game with Mr. Mime, well, off the table, as it turns out, as our draft begins for
Ooh.
game one. And a greeted ban for United Kingdom, clearly not wanting to go for the resurgent invade strategy, or at least the invade strategy that might be potent from Team Germany. But yeah, I think that with Mr. Mime's ban here, slash the nerf that it's received, I think Blissey might see a little bit more usage. But Germany,
That's
they've looked
targeted
at
right
Mr. Mime,
there.
and they're like, hey, okay, you take Mr. Mime away from us, we're just going to take Blissey away from your main support Snacks. That's brutal.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about Kurin right there. They just gutted the 2 picks that you were literally just discussing. So if there's one thing you can do, if you can't hamstring, for the sake of argument, Bruv and Toon, choose another player that's been incredibly consistent and then just gut them as hard as you can and go from there. Because Germany knows that they have the overall skill parity power level advantage. We'll give it to them. Fine. UK, you got to battle on a different axis, and I actually like gutting the Greedent immediately because it at least takes out the shenanigans that Germany can throw their way that could have the best ability to keep their volatile strategies from getting off the ground early, which is exactly what a Pokemon like Greedent does.
Yeah, we've been seeing those invade strategies from every single team so far in every single game. They're vital. One thing I think is massively vital here is taking out the Aegislash there, purely because Germany have run that in the central area as well, and it's been such a powerful tool for Germany. So United Kingdom, that's incredibly targeted, and pairing that with the Slowbro, being able to just add a little bit of stall so you can get that assassination effect come in afterwards, that's going to be insane.
More often than not, with that invade strategy, we've seen either a Snorlax or an Aegislash, of course, the early days at Honedge, utilized in that role. Not often to great effect, and actually, to be fair, Aegislash themselves receiving a nerf from that Shadow Sneak, that initial move, which is so great at sniping, now does less damage. There has been supposedly an upgrade to Iron Head, but I don't think we're going to see any movement away from the King's Shield. We have the next couple picks coming through, of course, to supplement the Blissey with Germany. We've got Lucario. We're probably going to see 999 Marv on that. Absol as well had a lot of joy yesterday with Group B. Slowbro on top of the Aegislash, of course. I think Slowbro probably one of the best defender picks thus far now. Charizard, again, one of the most popular picks out of the entire tournament thus far. And even with its slight tweaks from the recent patch, no deterrence here from the United Kingdom. They are going to deter Germany away from the T-Tar, which has had sparing appearances, but whenever we have seen it, done exactly what you'd expect T-Tar to do. We now await Germany's second ban. What are we expecting here, Bacon?
Right, I can see it, and I'm just putting it in right now, and it's one that interests me because they're going to remove the Wigglytuff. I look at this right now, and whilst I can understand the Wigglytuff, Germany needs a defender at least a bit more CC themselves. So I was thinking in my mind, like, are they going to try and leave the Wigglytuff for themselves? But it's going to be the UK coming in with the next pick, so I think this is targeted once again purely so that UK doesn't get Wigglytuff.
So next, what we're thinking, if you're Team United Kingdom, you're on the back foot, you're looking to pick up your first and most necessary series win in the UEC. How do you fill out this roster?
I'm looking at Pokemon like Delphox. I'm looking at Pokemon like Snorlax. Those are two that I would love to have with the rest of this composition. You have Slowbro and Snorlax that can beef in the middle. You can have a big time engage by Aegislash. Of course, burn them down with Charizard from a range, and both Charizard and Delphox can protect goal zones and siege goal zones very, very well. So those are two Pokemon off the top of my head that I was like, yeah, that really checks the boxes from UK. Similar Pokemon to Snorlax is Mamoswine. So there you go. So I love that. That's going to give the opportunity, the potential opportunity of Germany to pick up Snorlax, which would be a huge pickup for them as well.
One big hitter that we have not seen is Glaceon, and actually Germany preferring the Cinderace pick over Glaceon. I only saw it for the first time yesterday in Group B. Saw it a couple of times. I think it was with Switzerland or Italy, if I remember. It was at least one pick with Switzerland. That is correct. And actually, wow, the roster going to be supplemented by Blastoise, fresh off a recent buff. We will. That is Blastoise's first appearance in the entire tournament. Very exciting. I wonder whether the UK is going to go with Glaceon then. Look, it's got a nerf to Icy Wind. It's just a cooldown buff, or a cooldown nerf, I should say, a cooldown extension. I don't think it's going to affect it that much. A reminder to everyone, by the way, at home, we're not seeing Mew today because Mew has been banned. There was already a previously established bug, which, though annoying, it wasn't exactly game-breaking. There has now been an additional game-breaking
I like
situation
this.
added to that Mew.
Coming
you got
through,
news.
an obscure
Yeah.
pick is the A9. Again, another one, like you said, the Delphox fills the exact same role as that, but it's going to be very interesting. I wonder which set they're going to go for, though.
So UK really hedging to scale, to have some kind of transitional scaling between, like, for example, the A9 and the Mamoswine. But what my biggest, like, red alarm going off is the last pick Blastoise, and Gatlu's going to be on that Pokemon. Gatlu plays Blastoise when it wasn't buffed, and they're going to be looking to do some damage in the face of this Pokemon. My concern with United Kingdom, if the Aegislash doesn't get good engages, they really struggle with big-time burst damage, which means Rayquaza can be just yoinked out from under him because Cinderace is sitting on the other side, which can play at a good deep range and deal tons of damage, especially engaging with its Unite move.
Well, exciting, certainly in the context of UEC. This is the first matchup, the first individual game where Mr. Mime, Glaceon, and Mew, none of them are present. This
Don't
is
need 'em.
super exciting. First ever pick for Blastoise in the UEC. First ever pick for Alolan Ninetales in the UEC. I think I mentioned actually over one of the first couple days. It must have been yesterday because that's when I was on, right? But I love the mixture between Mamoswine and Alolan Ninetales. You pair them up on a path. You've got yourself some serious free stuns early days. If you've got your central area guy coming in as your third man, wowzers, you've got yourself a seriously dangerous looking proposition there, but dangerous on the mic. Red alert, everyone, we've got to watch out. It's going to be Doomsnacks. It's going to be Digital Bacon, folks. I'll leave it to you.
I love that guy, you know? What an
gassing us up with
us, eh?
premium.
Yeah.
Gassing us up with premium. Gassing us up. The one thing that just crossed my mind, Bacon, if I can indulge you real quick, is I'm looking at this UK roster and I'm thinking, is the A9 a pitch to a comfort level for one of these, we'll say, players with less high level, like worlds level competitive experience? And, you know, if you're going to choose, let's say, Delphox and A9, you know, they were saying they sort of functionally do the same thing. That might come down to, because I do believe Delphox is stronger than Alolan Ninetales, but if you're not competent with Delphox, you don't feel confidence in your Delphox, then Alolan Ninetales is an easy pickup if there's a high comfort level there. And I think UK really needs to be playing to those things to make these players comfortable on this stage so that they can kind of reach their potential and ascend a little bit, which we believe UK is going to need to do to dispatch of this German squad.
Yeah, we can look at the UK here, and you can, I want to say, you see a lot of teaming up, you know, a lot of duos coming on out here with the Aegislash being able to roam between both sides, and that feels like a great idea. Over on Germany, though, as we bring back up the draft, I'm interested to see how that Blastoise falls into mix. Of course, such a massive tank, so much HP to them, and a lot of mobility. You can't hinder it, which is phenomenal. But how does that pair up with, I'm looking mainly going to be at Lucario or the Cinderace. Which side would you prefer that to be paired up with?
If it's Marv on Lucario, they might just cut them loose. Like I said, 1-1-3 up top, go a little old school, a little season 1 with it. And, you know, just like, actually, Gatlu's going to be in the middle. Nah, they're going to do a split jungle. I think
mid?
they're going to, and not necessarily split, but like a Cinder clears first rotation, Gatlu comes through and takes the second, kind of like we'd seen at the end of season 1 with like Venusaur, when like Venusaur would peel back in and take like the second rotation through. There's a lot of options here, but specifically what Gatlu's going to be doing, they're going to be shot calling and I can almost predict every engage is going to be off the back of them, right? Who are they going to catch out? Who are they going to chunk down? Open the door for that Absol to get those quick KOs and get out safely, which is, of course, very important with that Pokemon, as it can be pretty squishy and blown up very quickly. And then you have Marv to come through and clean up the trash. But besides that, I mean, Blissey's just going to be lobbing in egg bombs, causing static. And the Cinderace has the ability to just take over as well. So Germany has crafted the squad incredibly well, and it's really hard to take picks out of Germany's pockets when all of their players have such deep pools.
I was thinking exactly that with both the Cinderace and the Blastoise. It's going to take a while to get up to that level 9. You know, you want that by the first Regieleki. So you're going to need a lot of support. Lucario is super solid there, and Blissey to hold on to their lanes. I'm going to be interested to see what we do with the Absol. I'm expecting that Absol to push on over and invade quite early. When we look over towards the Team UK side, though, when we're looking at a jungler, we're probably expecting the Aegislash again to be another invader. But who would you like to see then take that central area first? I'm thinking towards that Charizard, try and get them up to that Charmeleon as quick as possible.
This might be another, one player takes the first go, another player takes the second. It's tough. The way UK is set up, I would be more reserved. And I would play to my side of the map and prevent, you can get an easy KO if the Absol's the only one coming across. Like, that's an easy KO you can pick up if you're mentally prepared and you're not shoving all your resources back the other way. Play it safe. You have scaling Pokemon. You have A9 to help bridge that gap. Play to that. Maybe feed A9 a little early so it hits level 4 on the rip and can protect against those invade shenanigans, can come through and support a Charmeleon before it ticks over, or help that Doublade get to Aegislash. So, the A9 is, I don't want to say it's the key to the castle, but it certainly unlocks some doors, and they just need to make sure they're unlocking the right ones for the other 4 Pokemon that they've built around it. Or I guess the other 4 Pokemon that were chosen that led them to A9 as their final selection.
So I can confirm here, actually, that we're going to be seeing Toon Slim on the Charizard and Final Push on the Aegislash. So definitely thinking that Charizard going to be that main sort of central area, like we thought, near enough ripping through all the wild Pokemon, try and get as much experience up early. But we now get finally, I guess, test what this new patch is all about, because we have seen that Central Air get a nerf to the amount of experience, probably aiming to have that Charizard at level 5. If you can push for level 6, I think it's going to be incredibly bold, and you're going to have to maybe leave some of that path experience along the way purely for your Central Area Mon to pick up before they reach, say, and I'm assuming the top path is going to be the pick here for the first engage.
There is a difference, yes, in experience available, but it's not so drastically new. And one thing that Toon has been historically known for is always showing up to the first, always being level 9 at 7 minutes. And just because the experience is reduced, it actually matches close to what Remote Stadium had available, meaning that they still have the opportunity to come through and hit that level 9 because Toon is just doing Toon things. Final Push here, going to push across and see if they can do some damage to this little bunny trying to take care of their Selgor as they're taking over to level 4. Final Push clicks over to level 2.
Yeah, but at level 4, that little rabbit is going to be mighty, mighty fierce. Waiting, trying to get the snap. No! Doesn't get there in time. Holding back, waiting for the Hone Edge. But no, this Hone Edge has got a bit of a sharp edge to it. Going to take down the Scorbunny. And, well, let's just go back to base and reset.
Yeah, without a doubt. Don't overextend what you just picked up, which was both buffs and a big-time KO. Now it's for the rest of United Kingdom to do their jobs and hold down this path. It's going to be ice types for UK in the bottom path, and I like that look. We're going to be working in tandem between A9 and Mamoswine.
Right, 3v2 on that top lane. Toon Slim just waiting for that moment to engage. They're baiting on in the Absol. Marv on Lucario waiting to step on in as the birds drop. The clouds are going to get melted away instantly. And both sides electing not to engage each other. Same can't be said down on that bottom lane. Plasma going to be removed from the field, and Brav just looking to snoop about, maybe just push away the opposition. But realistically, they're not going to be able to get any XP. Can they jump on the Indeedee? The answer is going to be no, unfortunately.
Buying time for for the Charmeleon to come down. Toon Slim trying to get a KO, and now Bruv is way deep as that swine up, the little hairy Roomba working away across the map and picking up those berries to pick up speed and get out of there. Washed Rookie absolutely relentless. They're on the chase. Are those big mitts going to find their home? Yes, they do. Big time KO. Plasma's just a day late, dollar short. Washed Rookie going to pick up a berry. They're already level 5. They're out leveling the A9 here, and Plasma's just going to have to sit on the goal zone and chuck as much damage at this thing as they can.
Brav was too ambitious there, needed to follow and basically have the Charmeleon of Toon Slim just bodyguard him to get him out of the way, but no, that's going to be so costly as United Kingdom start to trail. We can see the score already, 88-24, not the worst, but it's the experience, the levels on both sides that really worry me. Toon Slim, though, up at level 8, will have the Charizard by the first engage, by the first Regieleki, and maybe be able to try and get an early Unite move to push away Germany.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good targets on Germany for that Unite move to find. But here we go. We got the ice type surrounding the fire type. As look how far. It's a Skullbro, too. Corrin playing the Skullbro, and they're getting chewed up by Marv and Nazu as they're going to go down here unless they get a little bit of support. Here comes Final Push. Eats the close combat, and they're still working through. And Marv is still almost at full HP. Both players from UK forced to sit on their goal zone, get some of that shield and HP back, and a good look by Marv and doing a lot of work by themselves.
Beltoy getting caught in the crossfire as Corin wants to push Marv off over on the bottom side. We do see Gatlu here electing for the Reggie Rock, have the Pilot's one just above, but this is the first time where we are seeing split pushes on both sides. No longer are we electing for exactly one of the two Reggies.
Yeah, Bruv actually alone down here in the face of 3, which means huge advantage for UK up top, and they need to close that goal zone and get that Regieleki. Bruv is on the backside of nowhere. That poor Piloswine is getting stamped out, no dust included. They are gone. UK doing good work up top, as that's another KO for Toon Slim, and now they're closing out the goal zone. They're going to get it right over with 15 points, and UK's got a good pressure on the Regieleki if they want it.
They do, but it's only 3 up there. You can see already pushed back on that bottom lane, Bruv and Plasma, and now the whole of Germany form up. They want to get revenge. They want this Regieleki. Are United Kingdom ready for it, though?
I mean, just the Slobo Current showing up. Germany collapsed on it very quickly. Rapid Spin Water Spout going to sort it out, and it's Wash Rookie that gets credit. And now they're going to be able to push this thing in. Big time engage, big time unite, catches 2. And now Gatlu's on the backside working on Toon Slim. Corin trying to hold it down, but they're falling like dominoes for the UK. Look at how far Toon Slim has to retreat as they are all over this gore zone, and they're going to get a huge overcap of 22 points. A great rotation by Germany, and really made it work for him after taking that bottom path action.
Another reason why Gatlu picking Blastoise is so good, to be able to push Toon Slim on the Charizard back when naturally you don't have that, well, you don't have any hindrances on you, so you can just push them back. Don't let them just poke a little bit of damage to stop any of the drops there, and so Germany look to extend the lead once again. There's the Seismic Slam coming on out from Toon Slim, trying to take names in the central area. Marv looking to get out of dodge, but Aegis Slash just gonna have to fall back. They want to go down for the goal. They're keeping the objective in mind here, Doob Snacks.
Absolutely. Good look on the engage and a nice little bait and switch by UK. Doesn't find too much purchase, but Toon can't be upset about that exchange. They did get out. Nobody got KO'd, and they dealt a ton of damage into Germany's face and allowed them to get some position down here.
Now we have to wait the quiet before the storm. Only final push, who's surely been seen by Gatlu. Yep, is going to get pushed on back. It is the Regiite, so we finally get to see them in action. We do see a lot of the UK come on down, get ready for this, but it's already been melted away. Unite move coming on out from Gatlu on the Blastoise, trying to deal as much damage across a big area as possible. Final push is looking pretty low, but we know the amount of sustain that Aegis Slash has. Bruv looks to be going down as well. The push out, trying to get out of dodge, run it back up that bottom path and get to a bit of safety.
Can't believe nobody from UK went down there. Of course, I say that Plasma gets gobbled up by the Absol, but for where they were on that exchange and how many players Germany had, good look for them.
Yeah, Plasma there just lingering about for a little bit too long. A bit of a foolish decision, but they will spawn back on in pretty quickly. But Plasma's going on down to try and stop the Absol. The attack on the top side is going to be a 4v4, already looking to take names here. Here comes out the Seismic Slam onto the Blissey, but that Blissey has so much HP, it's not going to fall. We do see Bruv take down Marv, and the attack keeps on going. Toon Slim taking on down Gatlu. This is a big, big win for the UK.
Yep, now they're going to switch under Regieleki. Corin's going to play far forward, going to use that Scald to slow up the squad and keep Germany from getting onto this Regieleki, and now it's flying in their face. Good look by UK, and a nice counter push from them to really recover and pick up the pace in the top path.
Germany are waiting for the Regieleki to come in. Well, UK sense that. They get an idea of it, so they're going to transition on over towards that bottom path. Try and drop in a 50 there, but Gatlu, a wise, wily fox, or at least a, I don't know, water squirrel? What is a Blastoise?
Water Squirrel, and that Hydro Pump Rapid Spin is taking a KO there, and Bruv is getting pushed, and there's 3 on them. Nazu's being relentless, a little bit of pursuit, jumping in, slashing those claws, KO Shrika 2. Marv gets credit. They got KO'd before in that fight where the UK took the Regieleki. Not about to happen again. They get 2 back the other way, and Plasma are just forced to play a defense on their goal pad.
30 seconds until Rayquaza drops, but we will see another Reggie in the meantime. It's going to be a Reggie still, so we've got one of each, but unfortunately the Three Musketeers, not much of an army as they are dropped so quickly.
Yeah, there's a reason they're in the basement. Sometimes they're not the most important thing going. As Corn's battling in the face of 2, providing good vision for UK and allowing them to set up around the central.
You say that though, but the Registeel gives you an attack and special attack buff, so that's going to be a nice little extra bonus as we head on into this Rayquaza fight, which UK wisely don't want to initiate straight away. They want to wait for that buff to just fall off a little bit before they get started.
Little bit of a grade school dance here. They're just staring at each other across the gym. Nobody willing to walk over and ask if you want some action. But there you go. UK jumps on top of it, and they're all over Rayquaza. It's going down quick. Blissey comes in. They're trying to pick it up, and Mamoswine picks it up. That's Bruv. They've got the opportunity. The Shields, they got to convert and score. One player down for Germany, but they're pushing. And Toonslim's all over Gatlu as Bruv was already scoring. Big Hundo Burger finds the mark, and they are on the menu today as Final is going to get one up top as well. UK up top all of a sudden. 339 to 310, but Toonslim's being relentless. Gatlu trying to rapid spin to protect this goal zone, and just coming in and scoring back 100 the other way. UK needs to cover, and they need to recover because now they need more points.
Gatlu's going to look to push off Bruv alongside Nazu. Bruv, you can't get over too deep in here, trying to keep them away, try and stop Germany from sending it on over towards the United Kingdom. Half Marv's not done over here, just hiding with the 6, but the UK needs to get more scored. They need to regroup. They can't be done and dusted right here and now, Dude Snacks.
No, fill your pockets with a low amount and go and leverage that double scores. Final Push is trying to do a ton of damage, but Journey's battling on their home goal zone, and it's Marv stretching this thing out. Holy smokes, that's not what UK needed to see, but they need to push now, and they have 30 seconds to cobble it together.
Okay. Unfortunately, the Aegislash is just going to be out of action. And you can see Bruv on the Mamoswine staying back. So this is a 5v4 push here. Numbers are not with the UK, and that's not going to help, as unfortunately 2 have dropped. Is only Corin on the Slowbro to be left, and that's going to be all she wrote for game number 1.
Bay of Sky Ruins streets are clean after that cleanup job. Germany, seeing that they had the lead and converting on that, understanding it's all about the defense and making it happen. And I don't want to toot my own horn too much here, Bacon, but the big difference between Delphox and A9 is Delphox can push that point with its Unite move.
It is that Unite, which is so important there. The Firework Festival coming on out is massively needed to control area, and it's all about control, it feels right now. UK are looking a lot better than Monday, it's gotta be said, those Dude Snacks.
They looked good in that. They took some quality engages, they rotated well, and they found opportunities where they could get them. You know, jumping on Marv, pushing that Regieleki, really put them within striking distance here. And then understanding that they wanted to jump on that Rayquaza, get it done quick. Bruv sealed it up and actually made his way down the goal zone to get a Hundo Banger in, while Final Push skated to the top. You thought that would be enough, but with the KOs that streamed back the other way and Marv getting cheeky themselves, that was just not quite enough here in game 1.
Right, folks at home, we're going to be heading on over to a break. As you know, we need to go refill our drinks. I've just gone empty, unfortunately. But on the opposite side, we will be back. Don't you worry, with another draft pick. And of course, we'll be joined by Relic. See you guys after the break.
Can you show me how?
I don't wanna fall in love. I just wanna have some fun, yeah. I don't wanna fall in love. I just wanna have some fun. I don't wanna fall in love, 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 fall in love. I don't wanna fall in
Welcome back, folks. It's Team Germany versus Team United Kingdom. And I think really what Bacon said there right at the end of game number 1 holds very true. United Kingdom with a much improved performance, but perhaps just missing out from that draft stage, picking the A9 over the Delphox. Might that have made the difference? Well, there's no need to worry about that now, Team United Kingdom, because you're 1-0 down. When you were in this position up against France, hey, guess what? You managed to tie the series. I'm Relic. I'm going to be here briefly alongside Doopsnacks and Digital Bacon, of course, as we take a little look at Game 2's draft. We already have our first bans through. T-Tar for the United Kingdom. Oh, sorry. T-Tar for the United Kingdom. Germany banning away Mr. Mime. They've also taken away Blissey once again from Kurin, so I'm sure that she's not going to be too happy about that. But our first slew of pick snacks, we've got Blissey, Lucario, Trevenant for Team Germany. Great to see the victory back. And UK sticking with Aegislash, sticking with Slowbro, but throwing a Snorlax in there for extra tankiness, for extra CC.
Yeah, and then as we see the Charizard get banned as well. So Germany literally with formerly all high-level competitive Pokemon, Glaceon comes out as the other ban. And all comfort picks for players on Germany within those characters. Kurin did have a great Slowbro game, so I like seeing that. Bro probably going to be picking up that Snorlax. And of course, Final had a great Aegislash game. So United Kingdom was not far off from converting this thing into a big win for them. And they kind of see some success in that recipe, and they want to try and stick to it as best they can.
And this is interesting because you can see the Charizard is a little bit of a weird one for me because we saw Germany with Charizard, of course, last time. No, sorry, it was Toonslim with the Charizard, so that's a targeted one. That's not what's weird for me. Is the keeping up with like banning stuff like the Glaceon now instead of like what do we have in the last round? Let me have a quick little look. The last bans were Wigglytuff, the Greedent, Tyranitar staying there, and then the Mr. Mime. So the change up is that, of course, the Wigglytuff is now changed on over towards the Charizard, and Team UK aren't that worried about Greedent anymore.
And that's not a surprise either, because we know that Toonslim, of course, you basically ban whatever Toonslim was on. You try and nullify that man's power as much as possible. But interesting that actually UK taking the step to ban the Glaceon. Clearly that Icy Wind nerf, maybe unsettling Toonslim a little bit, maybe looking to fall back to a previous choice before the days where Thea Sky Ruins was even a concept. Germany coming out with the Absol once again, and my word, we have a big buff bug on the pitch snacks.
Let's go. Buzzwole, and it looks like UK's ears were burning. They picked up Delphox, and I wouldn't be surprised if Toonslim picked up that character, or even the Aegislash and Final maybe switched off to the Buzzwole. I like UK's composition and what they're doing here. I kind of have a little bit of a hang-up in the fact that they're banning Charizard out from under Toon. It had to be more of a character ban, because you can't really out-ban Toon, right? Because his pockets are so deep with Pokemon. So I wouldn't even consider that a strategy. I would just think, like, we don't want to deal with a Charizard, so we'll ban Charizard, not let's get this out of Toon's hands, and then we're like we have an opportunity to win, because you just can't really do that. So what Germany did is they built themselves a composition that would have, potentially been weak to Charizard, able to scoop up the Absol, able to scoop up the Cinderace, get that out of here, or, they lock in their picks. But this Buzzwole, it's going to be a good show. This is an opportunity to step up, show out for this Pokemon, as it does not get a lot of respect in the competitive scene.
Because what are the buffs to Buzzwole with the recent patch that dropped today? It's all the second stage moves, isn't it?
I believe it is a buff across the board for all of the second stage moves. And so let me just...
and I think it had a natural base attack boost per level.
Ooh.
Yeah, so Smackdown, Leech Life, Mega Punch, Felt. It doesn't matter what build you want to go for. In theory, scaling should be much more enjoyable for Buzzswole, and actually just hitting those second moves in the first place should be a much more enjoyable experience as well.
Because I didn't think that the UK is such. Like Germany, it felt more that because, of course, them Pokemon choices there, the UK were able to hold up in the early game. Because as we look at this right now, we do still, with the UK, have the difficulties of trying to get the Aegislash up to fully evolved, and the Delphox isn't too bad at what, like level 6, isn't it? That we see Delphox get fully evolved.
Yeah.
So
Yep, level 6.
UK's got a pretty good early and mid game going on there, and Germany, of course, sticking with that Cinderace, that's going to be a little bit of a difficult one. But every other mon there for Germany is going to be easily, fully kitted on out by the first engage.
Yeah, you look at that Cinderace. It is a ranged attacker, but Snorlax's Heavy Slam can close that gap. It is not that far. It's not like a Decidueye range type situation here. So Snorlax being able to jump on top of that Cinderace is going to be crucial, and especially dodging that Trevenant push. United Kingdom cannot get caught in a straight line and have Gatlu, who I assume is going to be on the Trevenant, do a big push and catch 2 or 3 of them, get the huge HP back into their pool, and be able to continue taking over in that sense, because they're going to be stacking, and once they get big, I mean, it's a tough tree to fell.
We saw Italy yesterday pick up Absol and Aegislash, both on the same path, by the way. And their tactical prowess in being able to pick off the back line, pick off the Pokemon that would cause them the most trouble in team fights. That was their massive advantage that they were able to bring to the table. And I can't help feeling that the UK is maybe going to try and take a leaf from their books, because look, you've got yourself a Buzzwole, you've got yourself an Aegislash, you've got 2 Pokemon there who are so good in those one-on-one engages. You've got yourself Slowbro, also excellent for those one-on-one engages. Right. You've got a bit of CC thrown in there as well, could help out the Aegislash massively. But it really is the same question that we got to ask the UK. Are you able to live up to those heights that we saw in game number 2? And has Germany perhaps just outdone you a bit with taking away that Charizard? Clearly a staple of that UK roster in game number 1. Lots of questions going forward. Germany in the pound seat. Bacon and Doofsnacks, they got eyes on this one.
Hey, a pound of bacon. Here's one thing I want to see out of you.
How much is that? I'm sorry, like, you're the only country in the world that still uses that as a measurement. We've got it as a currency still, but like, how much is a pound roughly? I'm trying to figure it out.
It's a wad.
A wad. A whole wad. Okay, right. I can see we've already got the picks on coming in. We're doing a munch.
A bunch, not a munch. Come on.
What about a handful?
2 handfuls.
2 handfuls.
How big are your hands? Maybe 1 handful. Maybe one well-stacked handful. Let's talk about this game real quick. Yeah. One thing I want to see out of the UK, which Delphox on Loxin is going to be huge, specifically with Snorlax, is if they can time out kind of like a pseudo wombo combo of a Heavy Slam into Heavy Slam, pop-up 3, Delphox Unite into Snorlax Unite. That is a ton of CC and a ton of players caught into that fireworks display of Delphox that can really convert into huge damage once Final Push gets in there. So I'm looking for that type of action out of the UK with those 2 particular picks. And of course, if they go Buzzwole with that suplex ability that it has, that's a great way to stack somebody into those fireworks as well.
But looking over towards Germany's side, you have so much in the way of control there. When you're looking at that Trevenant, going to be able to really push not only opposition about, but when you're looking at a Unite move, it's a very similar case as Delphox there to cover so much area. As we just had a little bit of a hiccup, but don't you worry, we'll try and get this one on sorted. Just, simple little clean feed issues here, dude.
Yeah, things happen. Not a big deal. Good invade by Marv out of the gate to really keep Toon from scaling into that Delphox. We know it scales pretty early, but it still needs to get there. And that was a good effort by them to keep Toon from getting to that point. Final Push a little less successful in this invade as Gatlu pulls up for the help and the support of the future Cinderace and gets the KO back the other way.
Now what I'm going to do, just quickly pull this back 5 minutes. Hopefully we'll get a little bit of a buffer. And there we go. So It's been a little bit of a weird first portion. Let's just admit that and get going with it. As looking like Germany again want to still lead the charge, but this is a bit of a nothing lead right now when it comes to score. I'm looking at levels. I'm looking at Marv there being so cheeky to go in the face of Tumon. It's only when Corrin steps up that he knows that, yep, I've overextended. I need to get out of dodge.
Yeah, and good on UK protecting their resources on their side of the map, peeling back into the center, helping out Tombslin, understanding that he is a key piece to their puzzle here if they're trying to get a victory. And Snorlax is going to be a big-time useful ability, or excuse me, useful Pokemon in protecting these goal zones, which fell fairly early for them in Game 1.
Just boy it on back. Hopefully you won't get much of the stars anymore with a little bit of delay added on. As we do look back towards this top lane, and it is that Snorlax once again trying to push on out the Absol. Nazu, though, being able to just dash their way on out, get out of trouble, but Plasma on the Snorlax just wanted to cause a little bit more of an issue. Marv gonna just jump back to base? No. Thinking better of it. I wonder why there. Looking for a group push towards the central burbs when they drop on down. Gatlu's been left all alone up here. Oh, sorry, down here.
Yeah, Gatlu's getting beat up and punched on real quick, and it looks like Bruv is the one that picked up the Buzzwole, flexing those big muscles, and they're going to see what they can do, but here comes Marv for the support, and they dust the Buzzwole immediately. Yes, Corrin does get the KO back on Gatlu, but the damage has been done, and the exchange for Germany is real, as they got all the experience in the middle as well. Toonslim clicking over to level 9 is going to be big time for them if they're going to try and make some money moves in the bottom path.
Looking again to perhaps prioritize that bottom path for the United Kingdom. Maybe because we don't have either of the top goals broken, and realistically you want to get rid of a goal before sending the Regieleki on its way. Marv getting rather quite dangerously down to half health there as Tombslim wants to do a lot of damage. Gatlu forcing the issue and removing Bruv.
I mean, Gatlu with the huge push, isolating them and allowing the rest of Germany to collapse on top of them, leaving Plasma to defend this goal zone against Nazu, who is successful. But again, the damage has been done in that particular exchange, and Germany is moving across this map very, very well.
Okay, it's going to be the Registeel in the basement there. So, the attack buff, mighty fine at these early stages, of course, can make a big difference. And, well, Corrin going to have to respawn. That'll make a big difference. Nazu looking to just start melting. No one from the UK is around that Regieleki, so it is an easy drop there. The goal's dropped as well, so it's going to be pushing towards that second goal. And unfortunately for Bruv, going to be removed. No,
Snorlax is down. Toon's playing defense. Final Push is trying to engage. Germany's getting the Regieleki for free. There's a Delphox Unite, and this is what they need to convert on. That's an opportunity. 2 players down. It's a good place to start if you're UK. But look at Gatlu. So stout, just hanging in there, still trying to escort this thing, driving Miss Daisy. Big time engaging to KO back the other way. They get a huge push of 2. Their HP bar skyrockets back up, and they are bullying these 2 players, these 2 defenders. They keep getting pushed and pushed and pushed. Are they shopping carts? They're getting drug around the store that we call Thea Sky Ruins. It's getting nasty for Germany as that Regieleki finally hits, and they got an opportunity for points.
Oh, the Bliss, the washed rookie on the Blissey going to be able to just get that. Oh, Gatlu, another cheeky little drop, and now going to look to just force their way on out. Does have Fremon on him though, and Nazu gonna come on in, perhaps offer a little bit of a help. Here comes Blaine, and maybe even clean it up. Bruv is running, the wings beat him, but can't get away from Blaine, and Nazu will be able to finish off this second goal.
I mean, Trevenant goes down, but here comes Blaine, sneezes on United Kingdom and gets themselves a KO as Marv is working through Corrin, and now they've got the Blissey in their pocket. And you know what they say, when you got a Blissey in your pocket, you think with your Blissey. And that's exactly what Marv started doing. They saw them pull up, and they just kept pushing. Germany in a commanding lead of this one. I don't know what sort of giant was awoken by the UK, but they are looking nasty out here in Thea Sky Ruins.
Ooh, Wash Rookie on that Blissey has to be careful. Locked alone down in the basement now, but what Reggie has spawned, we'll find out any moment. Marv is waiting alongside Gatlu. It's going to be another Registeel, so another attack buff who will come out on top. Gatlu's got a good little chance at it, but it will be Marv, and it will be Blaine taking on down Corrin. We'll see Bruv drop as well, so another great push coming on through from Germany.
Yeah, Marv is securing the Registeel, able to push into UK's face. Toonslim sorts them out, but the push is still happening. Does UK have enough to stave it off? It looks like they do, but look who takes the Regieleki yet again. It's Nazu, all by their lonesome. It's almost like that's exactly how Germany drew it up. Nazu, you just go deal with something else on the map. We'll do the rest. And that's exactly what they're doing, as that Regieleki has the opportunity to hit that home goal pad here.
Don't think we're going to see Germany, though, follow up on that Regieleki. Right now, it's all about just taking down the wild Pokemon and definitely getting the buff there on Marv, going to be the slowdown effect. And it's just making sure that they are even more stacked ready for when Rayquaza drops. But that's still over a minute and a half away. They've got such a dominating lead right now.
Yeah, and it's looking good. Gatlu doing so much work with that Trevenant, with that Elvis costume. Looking good. Ain't nothing but a hound dog. Holy smokes. Gatlu chasing him down, and Delphox is nothing to this big tree. The Delphox unit comes out. Gatlu finally hits half HP, and they're going to have to jump on them. Good suplex. That's what I was talking about. Suplexing them back into the fireworks to get that KO. That's a good tandem operation there between Toon and Bruv, and now they're heating up and moving together. They've got good confidence as Nazu goes for the engage, and they're KO'd, or excuse me, gets KO on Toon, and Bruv is left all by their lonesome trying to hold it down. Another engage by Nazu, and they're going to clean up the trashier KO streak of 2 for them, and these experience leads are getting out of control, Bacon.
Yeah, Nazu once again wanted to deny some of that experience. I mean, you go look at Corrin, right? Level 10 still on the Slowbro with Rayquaza dropping in 45 seconds. But that Unite move used by the Delphox earlier was so clever. It forced them back. And of course, Delphox has such a quick recharging Unite move that they'll be able to get it once again ready for that Rayquaza fight.
That's without a doubt, and they're going to need this Rayquaza if they want a shot at this game. I mean, this lead is almost 300 points before Rayquaza hits the map, and now Germany's going to have a Regice to go with this Rayquaza fight as well, as UK is literally trying to find purchase anywhere.
This could be a clever move if they can melt it down quick enough, but you can see they're not confident about it. We will see Gatlu take a step on in, perhaps trying to deny the UK. That's a great block coming on out by the Snorlax of Plasma, and UK does get the Regieleki. It'll be sent towards that first base. It's enough to just cause a little bit of an issue, but the issue right now for the UK is that Rayquaza has already been dropped. Marv taking them on down and now running towards the goals. They didn't think that Germany would be so bold as to instantly pounce on the UK, but having Gatlu there confirming where the team was gave them full confidence to instantly remove, and that is a 1 minute 41 forfeit at the end, Dupe Snacks.
Gatlu showing the strength of Trevenant, and if you allow it to scale, you allow it to get you its stacks in, and it can take over the game. I mean, you saw how much sustain it had. Every push, like I said, can't catch 2 or 3 people, and it was. Gatlu was finding everybody on the UK, lining them up, knocking them down like dominoes, and their HP bar never went below 50%. The only time we saw it is when Toon used a Unite and tandem with Bruv with that suplex back into the fireworks. Every other time, Gatlu was doing whatever the heck they wanted.
That Trevenant, we actually haven't seen a massive amount of this weekend. Oh, sorry, this week so far. I'm so used to events being on the weekend, you know, dude. But it's of this week so far. But in that one game, the effect was massive. Gatlu just flexing those trees' muscles and doing so much. I can't wait to be able to see the battle data. Yeah, that defense, but also that recovery is disgusting.
I mean, 71k damage taken is a huge number. You look across the way at those, you know, a big chunky defender Pokemon. Neither Corrin or Plasma could even get in that stratosphere with the damage they took, which means that Gatlu was not only playing forward, look at that damage dealt, most out of anybody as well. They were getting into the action, they were taking the action, and they were deleting UK off the map, and Germany puts an exclamation point on this one.
Yeah,
now they're 2-0.
I'm going to applaud Bruv's attempt on the Buzzwole. Like, it was a good idea. We've seen that Pokemon come on out, and I like it as a bit of like a wild card pick. But the issue with going with a wild card pick is that it can blow up in your face. And right there, we just saw the Buzzwole's still probably not right where it needs to be. And the whole of the UK just, because of that level disparity, just unfortunately really couldn't keep up with Team Germany from, well, 4 minutes on in.
I must say, and kind of what I was talking about in our preview here, I like UK's team composition better in the second game than the first, because it had more of the upside with huge basement, right? We
Yep.
saw it catch the basement there, but you have to work within the volatility. And when you're looking at a pendulum swing, yes, it can go all the way to the right, but it can also go all the way to the left. And it wouldn't have taken much for a player of Bruv's skill level to be able to take over. And it just took a little bit of the players on Germany not really understanding all of Buzzwole's move sets or something like that for them to be able to take over. So I applaud them just like you have for that decision. It didn't quite pan out, but I like the mindset, and it shows that they're thinking about how to win and not how to just almost win or barely lose.
Right. It's not over yet, though. It is a best of 5. It is currently 2-0 in favor of Germany, but who knows? UK could go for that reverse sweep. Last time on Monday, they took game 3. Can they take game 3 after this break?
I'm all the sins that you can't confess. I'm just your ghost if we're not undressed. A part of me wish that we never met, but you act like we never. Got too wasted in the bathroom of your parents' house. Then you kissed me in the backseat of a taxi ride. And we said things that were cheesy, but we meant them. There were feelings, and now you deny it. You're in love with the idea of me, but you're not in my reality. Find it hard to even picture it, 'cause my reality is your reality. No. The sins that you can't confess. I'm just your ghost if we're not undressed. A part of me wish that we never met, but you act like we never. Got too wasted in the bathroom of your parents' house. Then you kissed me in the backseat of a taxi ride. And we said things that were cheesy, but we meant them. There were feelings, and now you deny it. You're in love with the idea of me, but you're not in my reality. Find it hard to even picture it, 'cause my reality is your reality. No.
Where you look, where you touch, where you feel, yeah. Where you look, where you touch, where you feel.
Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know, I wanna know. Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about me and you? Can we talk about the truth? I wanna know.
Welcome back, friends. It's the Unite European Cup. It's day 3. And are we going to see another series go to game 4 and not game 5? Or are we going to witness our first sweep of the tournament? I'm Relic, briefly joining once again Doomsnacks and Bacon, who've been doing a wonderful job, by the way, casting this series. Be sure to give them all the love in chat. And also, let's give some love to Team Germany for having the steal to ban Mime 3 times in a row. Like, good on you. That's the first time that we've seen Mime basically denied from entering a series at any point whatsoever. UK going back to the Greedent ban again, looking to counter the potential invade. But Germany, Snacks, look, they've got their strategy, not just in-game, but in the draft phase as well. They are absolutely knocking it out the park again with these first 3.
Yeah, I mean, Rookie has gotten Blissey every game, and Marv has gotten their Pocket Pick of Lucario, a Pokemon that they have hundreds of games on. Germany really building this thing stout from the foundation up, as UK is leaning into Corrin and their strong Slowbro here, and an Eldegoss coming out as well.
Bacon?
The Eldegoss for me makes sense as a response to get some heals on out, because we've seen over the course of the week so far that you don't always need heals, but only if you're running very high sustain. And the UK during that last matchup, a fair few, like when we're looking at the A9, were just dropped instantly, and I think it's going to be majorly in those early fights. They've got to make sure that they can hold off against Germany.
They've got a bit of a rotating defender supporter cast here, the United Kingdom, and none of it has quite worked out. I do like the steal away from Germany with that Absol. I imagine surely that would be Toonslim on there. Banning away the Serena as well, United Kingdom. That does potentially leave Charizard on the table, but I do believe United Kingdom gets his first pick in the second phase, Snack. So if Germany's smart,
they don't want Toonslim on that Charizard again. That's it.
Yeah.
Really, because it can isolate down, it can scoop up Marv, it can pick up that Aegislash 2 before it was the Absol. I mean, Charizard makes a lot of sense on why you ban it. Again, Toomsland has so many characters in their pool that I wouldn't be surprised them grabbing anything and really doing work here. But I love UK on the tree. That's a good amount of damage. We've shown what its power potential is in game 2. So what better way to shake it up than try and get some of that power on your side?
And it's to take it away from Gatlu as well. You know, you want to take away one of their favorite mon to use. So sure, you might not be as skilled on it, but you're trying to hinder your opponents at every single step that you can here.
Well, that's 2 Pokemon that they've stolen away from Germany now. And actually, about time too, given that Germany has stolen away Blissey every single time as well, because we usually see Wash Rookie on the Snorlax. I would say that's usually what I've seen them on, and they've used it to great effect. But they clearly know that Kurin mains that Blissey, and if you're looking to pick on a team which doesn't have as much tier 1 experience as other teams, when you've got an easy identify like that, you're just unsettling one of the quote unquote, again, not saying it, but the quote unquote like weaker parts of the team. Again, Ku has been brilliant, I think, on the Blissey, and she's been excellent on the Slowbro as well. I think she's adapted really well, but hey, it's all about the mentals as well as the actual performances that you put out on the field. And with no T-Tar ban coming through, well, Germany have decided to go for the big Rocky Dark Boy himself, and adding to that a Wigglytuff. That is a lot of HP to cut through. That's a lot of good stun sustain as well with your Unite move on Tyranitar. Snacks, that's a scary looking roster.
It's a very scary looking roster, and the only thing you really got to wait on is got to set that timer on Tyranitar. Everything else can sustain itself. Wigglytuff is going to spike early. Blissey does. Aegislash, Mini Tainswell, and of course Marv can take over, and we already saw them do the invade. UK needs a big time hammer right now if they want to crack that rock. Holy smokes. I'm
producing the hit today, so I get to see the picks and bans early, and this is that hammer. We know what Glaceon can do. I was wondering which they would put through, and Glaceon for me is that wise choice. The only issue is that we've got a lot of brawling. That's going to be an idea come out from Germany, is like when you get those big team fights, they come together. If they need to spread off into 2 and 3 as the pairing, then they've got a lot of sustain there, and they do have a lot to soak it up. The UK have got to be clinical. They've got to be, you know, surgeon's knives here. They've got to be putting through an operation if they want to cut down Germany.
That is the ace in the hole, isn't it? It's like when Portugal brought in Gecko Kami for the second half of their series up against Italy. You know that Toonslim, at least pre-patch Glaceon, that is a ridiculous combination. But that is the thing. Why hasn't Toonslim, when Glaceon hasn't been banned away, why hasn't he gone onto that pick? Is it more of a conscious choice to try and merge better with the rest of the team for a better overall composition, rather than, hey, what we were talking about right at the top of the show, lads, where we were saying, look, you got Bruv, you got Toonslim, clearly your 2 carry players, work with them, build the team around them. Well, that certainly looks like what they're going to be doing as we head into game number 3. And Snacks, this is such a crunch game number 3 as well. Germany, 1 game away from qualifying for playoffs. United Kingdom playing for their entire tournament lives.
Yeah, there's literally everything on the line here for UK, and Germany just gets to breathe easy for the rest of the week, which is, of course, a fine feeling. It lets you take time to sort out other things and not really worry about specific individuals in front of you. Now, I'm taking a look. If they want this Glaceon to absolutely pop off, they better never be alone. I want one of those Pokemon on UK, not the Absol, of course, to be in Toon's pocket the entire game, whether it's Slowbro to buy space. I'd love to see a Surf game here, whether it's the Trevenant with the push to just create just a little bit of distance so Glaceon can kite out, especially, you know, to try and buy time in front of that big time Tyranitar that's going to be looking to stomp through the field and get to Glaceon real quick. Even the Eldegoss, you know, going full heal kit instead of a damage kit, and then just throwing everything it's got on top of Glaceon and just feed Toon. I think it's experience funnel time, and Glaceon's a heck of a Pokemon to do it on.
Bacon, your coach, Bruv. You've got this team in the palm of your hand. As I send it over to you two for game number 3, the question that I want to lead into is this. Do you take the pressure off? Do you say, whatever happens, happens, let's just see where we go from here? Or do you crank the pressure up? Do you potentially risk mistakes by saying, look, it's now or never. We play to win. It's got to be a reverse sweep from here.
Well, that's the only option we have right now, is the reverse sweep, isn't it, Doob Snacks? And I'm looking at this composition, and yes, Bruv on the Trevenant is my expectation here. You've just got to force them off. You've got to try and pick solo targets if you can, so that they can't be saved, and just then hammer down. I'm going to be looking at Bruv to combine off, of course, with the Absol or the Glaceon. The same could be said if we see a Telekinesis build coming on out from Corrin over on the Slowbro to then just near enough halt them for the second and then melt them as quick as possible, because that's going to be the way to hinder Germany most, I see in my eyes.
I agree completely. And to answer Relic's question, I think you crank the heat up. I think you push the limits to the point of ignorance, honestly. I mean, you've got nothing to lose, right? You literally have no games to give. You need to win the next 3. Crank it up to 100 and see if you can knock out some of those big time plays. See if you can get Corrin to take over. See if you can get Final on the Absol. That's my assumption, to take over. You know, just crank it up to 11, throw everything at the wall, and if anything sticks, great, and see what you can do here in game 3. But there's nothing left. You got to lay it all out.
A little bit of slowdown. So let's just bring it back for 1 second. So we get on into this one. We are seeing Gatlu this time actually go on to the T-Tar and take that central area role, but Plasma, I don't know why they took the hop there, and I don't know what Corrin's doing going deep into the midfield. Wait, we got an Eldegoss that's going for the invade here.
Yeah, it's not a bad look, and you take that springboard because it's actually the fastest way into the opposing central area if you're not using X speed. So you run up your path, you take the springboard over and go. And Corrin is clearly going for the counter invade or the invade protection here, so they can jump on this Han Edge and try and get themselves a big time KO. Toon cannot go down here, and that's a huge win for Nazu on the sword as Corrin is just trying to convert. Please get this KO one more. Oh, the auto attack went back onto the buff Pokemon, and they might get out here. Holy smokes.
The crossover as well is quite clever, but I wonder if they're going to call this on out. As you notice, the Honedge going towards that top lane. Oh, He did get that KO into the Absol, and so going to be the reset, but this could be a brilliant chance. Nazu, though, might go a little bit too deep, trying to score off, but with 11, that's going to take way too long to dunk anything.
Yeah, Blaine putting the squad to sleep and able to buy time for that Hun Edge to get out of there. And here comes Pupitar Gatlu knifing down the birds with that Dragon Breath as they're still peppering that around. Halitosis, that's looking nasty. And they're getting KOs to boot as Final gets a KO on the Hun Edge. That's a great conversion for them. And they've got the player advantage they want to push. A Sing's going to come through on Corrin. Can they convert onto that? Final's going to push because it's in their name. They get their points and they get their stack. Now it's time to get out.
Yeah, the Elder Gods there just going straight for that purple-violet buff to try and steal that one away. Final push just getting away there, and Corrin will force Blaine back into their own half. Bruv putting a little bit of pressure onto Marv here, but Marv had already got the dunk. We will see the Elder Gods drop to the Blissey, and well, this has been a very peculiar first 2 minutes.
It absolutely has, and UK getting the majority of the birds in the middle is a great start for them. Bruv holding it down very well in a 1v2, and Bruv really just trying to get to level 7 where they get that big push that Trevenant is known for.
A little congestion over a Bunnelby, and Blaine's going to have to take a step back. But Gatlu comes on in to support. You leave my little pink rabbit alone. Head back to your own half. And Nazu has somehow snuck on in. And Corrin's going to feel the hurt.
Yeah, because Marv just pulled up with their pocket pick, and of course Gatlu getting credit for one of those KOs is huge, as Toon is going to try and leverage it back the other way. They did get a KO, that's good experience for them as they're working into the face of this Blissey, who's not serving itself too well, because Elvis keeps getting those points in, and Bruv is stacking themselves, and they're getting big finally with the big time push. And look at this little skirmish breaking out of top. Blaine's trying to hold it down, a little Dazzling Gleam and asleep. They're going to try and convert as Nazu engages as that Doublade. Can they get Plasma down? I think that's the only opportunity they have, but no, it's Final converting back the other way. That's huge, and a great shouldering of the pressure from UK's Final push to keep their team in this one.
So the United Kingdom, because they know over up on top lane that they've done a lot of damage there, they're not going to be able to go straight for Regieleki. They elect to now try and push on Reggie still. They notice the cavalry has arrived, and Toonslim already using that Unite move, trying to take names. Marv going to be able to get back some HP from the Reggie still, and now we are seeing trades come on out. That's up on the top half as well as the bottom, and it is all just madness. Damage. Nazu trying to take down Toonslim and finally gets the Glaceon.
That was a huge exchange downstairs. Good KOs up top. You wanted to see these rookies step up for UK, and they're holding down this top path incredibly well between Corrin, Plasma, and Final Push. Final Push specifically leveraging the other two support and defender Pokemon they have in their path to do great work and getting themselves another KO on Marv nonetheless.
This could be a 3v1 onto the Rabbit. Blissey has to step up. That's a lot of HP to be able to soak up some of the damage and wait for the rest of Germany to turn up. The United Kingdom doing so much. Finally, we do see the Absol drop, however, but it cost the Unite move from the Blissey. Gatlu going to be able to drop the Elder Gods and now trying to push on through to Corrin on that Slowbro. Marv going to be able to take them on out, and Toonslim just has to hold back. That Glaceon a little bit too squishy, can only put some little tick damage out.
Yeah, it tried to hold the goal zone, expending its Unite move. It's getting collapsed on as it's getting engaged. Final Push is going to have to try and clean up the trash. Good pick up the Eldegoss. They're getting back into the action. They're all over Gatlu. Gatlu's a KO they want as Gatlu takes out Final Push. That's an icy win. Finally finds its guts, and Toonslim gets credit for 2 as they're level 11, and they've got a good opportunity here to push into the face of Germany while they're down a few players. But here comes the Aegislash from downstairs, coming straight through the middle, and it looks like Bruv is going to try and cut them off, or at least join up. Plasma's getting the pressure on, and they're going to go down, no problems.
Where Plasma's still at level 9, it's not going to be a massive amount of XP, but what's going to be a massive deal is if Germany can take that Regieleki. You can see they're just basically being gifted to it. United Kingdom not willing to step on in. Down on the bottom half, Bruv looks to try and push Marv off. Not going to be able to get anything there, but up on the top lane, Gatlu is able to get that Regieleki and gets an Absol to boot. Plasma's trying to run away, but that is one angry Rock Dragon chasing after them. Another Unite coming on out from Toonslim, but it feels like it's just going into a void. The Tyranitar's not going down.
Yeah, they escorted that thing as far as they wanted, and they're good with just parking it on the street and making it call the tow company to get it out of here. Now United Kingdom has to deal with it, and it's allowing Germany to go wherever they want on the map. Korin getting just chewed up downstairs by 3 players from Germany, as well as Toon is forced in their central area to try and catch back up.
A little bit of quiet as we'll see numerous players now try and pick up a little bit of farm, get those wild Pokemon down. We'll see the Wigglytuff of Blaine be able to get a little score, but it's just a little bit of poke. It's more rubbing salt in the wound, isn't it?
It is. It is. The scoreline, however, is not that far apart, so don't rub the salt in the wound too quickly here, as Plasma is squaring off against Washed Rookie in short order. Both healing Pokemon looking to support their squad, just passing like ships in the night, as Marv is getting chased down by 2. Korin wants this, but they leashed him into Blaine with a big sing and the Dazzling Gleam. And here comes Nazu to convert as well. Final push finds himself on the backside of a Nightmare, and they get KO'd too quickly. Now Korin's forced to retreat and Toon can't engage, as the rest of Germany's coming through to try and take their bees. Can Bruv backdoor them, though? That's the opportunity here. Germany says not today as they back off.
You gotta be careful with that Aegislash as well was lingering in, but Aegislash has been left all on their own down in that bottom fight. If Bruv can just get a hold of Nazu, if the Slowbro can as well, but no, I was about to say get a hold. They're still running Skull. They're still just looking to do damage.
Yeah, just trying to put some burn on and slow them down, allow some players to come in. Here comes Bruv trying to convert on Gatlu, who's barely chunked. Big push, but it's onto the gold pad. They're going to get shields and HP. And there you go. The KO's back the other way, and that tree is felled by the big old rock dark type Dinosaur. And now they're working through KO Shrikatu. Korin is down, and Toon Slim is going to be here in short order, but Plasma's coming to pick them up. Wash Rookie on the chase. Icy Wind hits Gatlu, but they're still working forward here, and Plasma gets let off the leash, but Toon does not, as they are the KO streak number 3 for Gatlu. Oh no, a Bliss Assistance Wendy's 4-for-4 4-pack. Can we get a Penta here in game 3 to put an exclamation point on this one? Yes, we do. 10 Jack Queen King. That's an ace for Gatlu and that Tyranitar.
We can see why the UK banned the T-Tar each and every time beforehand, because they don't want this kind of danger on the field. We do see things go the way of Germany once again. I think we're just running out of the clock into the end. We do have Bruv going towards a goal, but it's sort of going for the buffs as well. It's a bit of a weird split here, as the UK should feel the damage now.
Yeah, final push trying to do enough damage to break the shield and keep that score from going in. Bruv maybe KOing some Pokemon so they can pick up some extra Aos energy to maybe go, but it looks like they're just walking back the long way. Not too interested in the rest of this one as Korin's just throwing some Scalds down. And yes, there's a minute and 10 here, and there's only 360 points separating these teams, but UK needs to have a very coalesced effort if they want to win this game.
Well, they've just staggered the spawns from Germany. This could work as long as they huddle together and Toon Slim gets out there. You cannot lose Toon Slim at this moment in time. Gatlu knows that, wants to melt them on down, and does. It's going to be 4v4 in the final fight between these two squads. But who comes out on top? Germany look the favor, and it's going to be Bruv all alone in that bottom lane. They've elected for a split push, and Wash Rookie is just going to be able to handle everything Bruv throws at him.
Yeah, the other 2 players there are facing 3, and Germany's putting the pressure on. They're getting KOs in short order as Plasma's doing their best, but they're just a cotton ball that's going to get blown into the wind here. That's another KO, and holy smokes, Gatlu getting credit for all of them. That Tyranitar is huge and an absolute nightmare to United Kingdom.
15 seconds to go with 3 removed from the UK. Now 10 seconds left. Toon Slim is back in, but basically locked by Marv in their own half. This is not going anywhere. So we've just live out the final moments of this matchup. Germany confirm themselves through to Sunday, Dupe Snacks.
That was a very impressive showing by Germany, kind of cranking up the heat. Game 1 into Game 2, Game 2 into Game 3. That Tyranitar looked absolutely vicious, racking up that Penta KO right before the Rayquaza hit the map. And United Kingdom, pack your bags, you're going home. Your tournament life is ended.
Who knows? Technically, with a 3-0 up against Spain, they could still push on through, but it's not going to be easy at all, buddy.
Well, let's just say they have to climb Mount Everest from the bottom of Marianas Trench. It's a long way to the top, but it's not theoretically, impossible. It's not theoretically impossible. But Blaine actually scoring a ton of points, getting the crown for this one. 4-9, not a bad stat line, but I'm looking at Gatlu, 13 and 111,000 damage. Holy.
That is scary, to say the least. You know what? I think we need a little moment to go chill, go cool off, recollect ourselves. Guys, we're going to be throwing this on over to a break. When we come back, we'll be seeing the next matchup. It's going to be Spain versus France after this.
If I were to the sea, maybe I never say forever fall into the light. Every time I try to breathe, but you're right and carry me where I've loved and I have died. So I won't hold back, and you should know that what's never good, just have regrets. So I won't go back, oh, but I got me to forget the time I lost, no regrets. Moonshine back again. When I drove down to Abyss, while I blame the world's neglect, then I shine right back. So I won't hold back, and you should know that what's never gone, just have regrets. So I won't go back, oh, but I got me to forget the time I lost, won't let me forget.
Baby, this is do or die. Feel it in my veins tonight.
Emotional suicide. You know it's an eye for eye. I didn't wanna walk the plank. No, but the Mariona, it came like the thunder. I was on my way to going under. Swimming in the pain, yeah, I was covered in a tidal wave, But I'm a fighter. Try to take me down, I'm going higher. Baby, you've been playing with some fire. You've been playing with fire. One day you will see what you made of me. Found my inner peace. You are peace in the dead of night. Maybe when it's still dark, you know it's an eye for eye. Every energy around in the dead of night. You can save your alibi. I already know you lied. Oh no, no, don't even try. Watch the flame in me ignite. You didn't wanna walk the plank. But the Mariona, it came. Baby, it was dark, it was odyssey. And that's when the spark lit inside of me. Oh, I was lost in reverie. One day you will see what you made of me, what's inside of me. One day you will see I found my inner peace. You are peace in the dead of night. In the dead of night. Maybe when the sword die, you know it's an eye for eye.
Sorry about that. There was a little bit of a delay with me swapping on over. I had to press a lot of buttons, but we're fine. We're coming back on into the second match of the day. Folks at home, it's going to be France versus Spain. And, well, James, Doob Snacks, I reckon France are looking at it thinking we've got to pretty much do a Germany here and get 3-0 because right now, Germany are looking to top Group A, James, aren't they?
Yes, they are. They really are. And to be fair, that was, as you said in that first game, better from the United Kingdom. But we just see just how good Germany can be when they keep on one-upping them one step ahead at every moment. But now as we look forward, we see Team France. They find themselves in a very similar position. Yes, I mean, UK are going to need the assistance of all assistants from Spain here, because if France wins, that's not just the UK done, that is Spain done as well. There is a lot of on the line with this particular matchup. And Team France, we know them well. The likes of Sarri, the likes of Classics. Of course, Spain with plenty of great firepower themselves, with guys with a Desu as well. Spain, really, we should look back to that day one matchup against Germany, where they arguably could have taken it to game 5, arguably could have won the series themselves. And so France, although they had a pretty nice time against United Kingdom, I think that it's going to be one of those close ones which is going to be settled with minute point differences each game out.
As we look into this next matchup, what can we gain from the change with the patch, do you think, Doob Snacks? Like, have you seen any vital ways that the players are changing at all compared? Because we're looking more at the central area, aren't we?
Yeah, I haven't seen much. If the UK Germany game is any indication, not a lot of wholesale changes here. I think they're really just trying to do the song and dance of this pick ban format and try and get their edges that way. Charizard being the first one on the chopping block here for Team France, not a Pokemon they want to deal with, and a popular ban today in the games we've seen.
And as we look at the second one coming on in, Lucario, another sort of similar case where you're looking at who's strong at the moment, right, Relic?
That's a target ban, 100%. You know that if you got Saryu on the enemy team, and we actually saw this with Germany versus France, yeah. Well, not just with Marv, with Klaus as well. That's an easy ban, and well, there is your response immediately. Here is Mr. Mime coming out for France, and look, this is the first time that we get to see the nerfed Mr. Mime in action, and really there's not too much time for these players, competitive as they are, professional as they are, to really react to the changes so quickly. So they've had to make an on-the-fly decision. I'm not surprised to see Mr. Mime immediately back in a roster. Spain going with Aegislash, not exactly a straight counter, but certainly a great pick to have when in combination with that Unite move, Blissey.
And as we step on into the next one, we got Snorlax again. We've been summing it up. Like, is Snorlax still the play, especially after the buffs come through from Slowbro? But you touched on it earlier with that Slam Down. The near enough being able to throw yourselves and get a lot of distance Doob Snacks is what makes Snorlax good, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the only defenders that can do that has that type of ability to just kind of hopscotch across the map wherever it wants and get that big pop-up CC. To buy time for your objectives. Azumarill coming in is huge too. I'm a big fan of this. I was going to say another great pick here would be something like Machamp, and you've essentially just built your front line, right? Now you can get some ranged attackers here that can huck huge amounts of damage into the face of Spain. It's a good look. Trevenant back the other way is a tip of the cap to this, and you can see the similarities between these two compositions with those first 3 picks from either squad.
I want you to talk me through this ban of Absol, and I'm going to leak it, early. We've got Delphox coming through as the ban on the opposite side, James.
Oh, okay. So I can see why you'd want to ban away Absol. You're looking at Mr. Mime, you're looking at Snorlax, you're looking at Azumarill. Hypothetically speaking, not as potent on the Mr. Mime front, more potent on the Azumarill. So you want to get some speedsters in there. You want to get some close combat in. I mean, literally close combat. I think I agree with Snacks on this one. Like, the Machamp is going to be an excellent pick. Delphox, of course, you do not want that CC, especially with so many high-value targets in one area. If you are to get something on Spain's side that can do mass damage in an AoE like your Delphox, you're in big trouble town. We see Buzzwole actually for the second time today, and I don't mind that so much. If they can catch some of these more tanky Pokemon in one-on-one, especially with its recent buff, I think we'll see a bit more joy from this particular composition than what we saw with the UK.
If anything you read online is any indication, Geese is a big fan of that Buzzwole and thinks it's a lot better than people give it credit for. France locking in T-Tar is great. Not a lot of ranged action, which means these teams are going to be going toe-to-toe as of right now, if I'm looking at these compositions correct. So these last picks, I'm expecting some sort of range shooter here. Glaceon is still available if that's something one of these teams want to lean into. Also, Decidueye could work great with some of these compositions as well. So a lot of solid options for both squads here.
Yeah, for the folks at home, remember as well, we have elected to ban Mew for the rest of the week just due to the current, there's a bug in the game essentially, so it can't be abuse, should we say. But here we're not seeing the range come through. It is full on close coming through with the Serena relic.
If you're Spain, you are immediately hitting the Decidueye button. That is such an advantage, really, that you're taking into any team fight. Is squishy? Yes. But is powerful from a distance? Also, yes. I mean, realistically, had Mew still been available, you probably would have gone with that, although at this stage, you'd probably have seen Mew banned away or confirmed in already. And I mean, we've seen Cinderace a couple of times as well today. Might they look to that? Might they look to something static like your Duraludon, another good, bit of CC in there as well? Or are they going to go for something more tanky? I mean, you look at Serena, you look at Tyranitar, you look at Azumarill and Mr. Mime and Snorlax. They have got the potential to last so long in team fights. And that is why I am not surprised that they have gone with Slowbro. I think that is an excellent final pickup. I believe that this is the first actual matchup that we've seen in the entire tournament where no attackers will take to the field. Quite impressive to see this.
Yeah, I mean, these two teams are going to be fighting in a phone booth. They're going to be forehead to forehead, chucking bombs at each other's chests from close range, and I like it. That means we're in for a lot of good action. But what it's going to come down to is this is going to come down to, is the Slowbro action and the Snorlax action. How are they going to set up these engages for their team to be able to let these close combat fighters, not the attack close combat, but the face-to-face fighters that they've all selected in these Pokemon to go in and actually do some work? Because then getting caught out here is tough sledding for your squad.
Right, you two, I'm going to let you head on into this one. And Carson, I'm going to take a little bit of a step back on this. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. Take it away for France versus Spain.
I tell you what, this is going to be enjoyable for me, Deuce Max. Mostly because we, again, have a situation where France are not only going to guarantee themselves through, but Germany by proxy as well. Spain has everything to do, and they have every single bit of belief behind them that they can do it. They went toe-to-toe with Germany, which we're seeing now as we progress through this tournament is one of the stronger teams out there. And they've got some great experienced players, world championship caliber players with which they can really take the fight to this France squad.
Yeah, and they're going to have to lead the charge for this team, really carve the path ahead and show the road ahead and say, look, this is how we're going to get this done today. So Adesu, Geese, they're going to have to carry. I don't mean physically carry like because they're not as good, but they're going to have to carry them and say this is the direction to water. And then Human, David E. and Stisho, Kato, they're going to have to follow through and deliver on that plan of action.
Yeah, Kato was the one player that we didn't see from Spain. It was Stisho in that final roster role. For France, we haven't seen any subs as of yet, but I feel like all 6 of these players could step in and do an excellent job. But the likes of Sario, Icles, and Classics, for me, this is where the roster is built around them. And that's, Sario in particular, this is why we see a target ban against him. For my money, one of the top 2 Lucario players worldwide, let alone Europe. I really think he's up there as one of the best. And so it's going to be quite curious to see what he transitions onto going into this match, whether you want to stick on the sort of all-rounder sort of base, whether, you want to put him into the central area where we would usually find him, or whether he's going to be taking up a different role, as we saw with him versus, what was it again? It was versus Spain. No, not Spain. UK. There we go. Got that one right.
Well, wherever they're put him, they're going to have to, again, lead the charge for their squad. You mentioned that, there's 3 kind of highlight players, but I want to talk about Megumini real quick. Their little picture icon is Azumarill. They locked in Azumarill. Azumarill just got buffs, and that's a Pokemon I'm excited to see. I'm hoping that those stars all align, and that's who is on that Pokemon, so they can really show us what kind of damage they can do.
Well, Megumini and Yuto, actually, both of them, along with Klaus in certain parts, they've been playing together with some of the old Apprentice roster. And of course, I think we are going to see a lot of roster mania heading into year 2. There's obviously some different dynamics that can be formed, and these two work well together already as a duo in the queuing system. They seem to be working well once they're put into the wider perspective of a team. And so if this is a main situation where they're super comfortable on Azumarill, you got to be feeling happy because of the pure amount of buff that they've been able to receive. They don't even have to go into the central area necessarily to feel as if they're going to be useful in either path. They can take to one of those paths. They can go a simple 2-1-2, and I think they can find a lot of joy, certainly, especially mid to late game with those Unite moves.
Something that Azumarill had in its kit previous to the buffs was its ability to hold down a path by itself. And that's another thing that they're going to be able to leverage, especially if it got buffed up and the skill level is there. They can hold that down. They can do tons of damage in whichever path they send it. At that, it'll find its way in the middle. But, I've been surprised by things before. But that's what I'm looking for, a big Azumarill game and really putting a stamp on these patch notes of approval for these Azumarill players.
Yeah, it's one of those Pokemon where you look at weakness policy and you're rubbing your hands together. Whirlpool, such a nasty close combat sort of style of move where it's fantastic against for example, your Hex Gengars, for example, in solo queue, where they like to get close, they like to get up and personal, but because they're squishy, because the Whirlpool especially can do so much damage with that weakness policy stacking, it's so useful to have. We'll see whether that does indeed transpire later on, but we have an early invade here from Stisho, who's going to steal this early blue buff away. Oh, Oh no, it's Sora here on the poor old Larvitar. And are they going to go down? Well, actually, great sustain here. They're not going to have any backup, though. The first down here in France versus Spain.
Yeah, Classic's pulling up just a bit late. Yeah, they get that big belly drum in there to get a KO themselves and pick up that buff, but not before the damage has been done and that Larvitar is sent back to the respawn point.
So that's an early pick, of course. You can sort of get away with it now, but they've already got the buff. They're already one step closer to that Aegislash, and that's something which we're going to have to really worry about because unsuccessful Aegislashes, at least in the Unite European Cup, we've seen them very much sort of escorted out of the conversation. They've not been able to have a bigger say. When you let an Aegislash stack up, when you let an Aegislash get to its full potential, it can flip the game in a heartbeat.
Without a doubt, Adesu picking them up and slamming them down. They're trying to get some action here, and they're chasing down. They get their first KO, and they're trying to find their next one. It's going to be Classics. It is 2 down, and they're still motoring forward as poor Sora's just retreating back to their central, and this is the perfect opportunity to Spain to get a good crop of points in this top goal zone. And the action continues downstairs as Geese and Human are pushing, and they're going to get a good crop of points in as they are just trying to hold it down in the face of Shiro the Azumarill here, and Mr. Mime shows up just a hair too late.
Yeah, nice split push from both, honestly. And you can see that Azumarill so isolated, indeed going with the Whirlpool build, but there's only so much what you can do when you have that early support. There's a quick little stack there from the Mr. Mime before it bids adieu and heads back to home base. But really impressed so far with, I guess, the bombasticness that Spain is giving us, coming in to try and clean up these clouds, making a real mess here for Saryu, for Classics here. Down goes that early Serena, not even Serena yet, of course, and I'm afraid for Classics, he's going to quickly follow another 10 points from the Trevenant. Spain, it's starting to steamroll.
Yeah, they're picking up pace. Giza Desu working great in tandem. They have a lot of experience together, and they're trying to leverage that in a big way. Shiri getting caught up by the egg bomb, and now it's Desu on the power slam. Suplex City is, in fact, Thea Sky Ruin. Shiro going to get out, but that pressure from Spain was looking good. They've got 3 down bottom, and just a little bit of Trevenant and sword action holding down the top.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult to break. So it's going to be interesting to see if Spain decides to hard rotate up to the Regieleki. But to be fair, when you got that Trevenant on top path, you can afford maybe to get away with it. That said, a real nice push coming through here from France as they look to try and take down David on the Regieleki. They've actually got a lot of good work done here. That's another 3 down. Unfortunately, the Pupitar for France not able to get that 29 down. No stack. Oh, wow, this is amazing to keep Saryu off it, by the way. Classics really just kept at bay by Stisho as well. So impressed by this defense. And if we look at bottom path as well, Snacks, Spain continuing to pressure on that bottom zone.
And that's the strength of Trevenant. It's coming out in spades here. It's just the lone babysitter on that goal zone. And the rest of Spain is collapsing on Registeel, feeling comfortable in their spot in the face of the Azumarill. France tearing through this Regieleki, and it's the Snorlax taking a nap in the bush. And here comes Zarina for the engage, but the pushes are there by Trevenant. Mr. Mime has to pull up for the out, and it's Shiro going in, and they get it. The Pupitar takes out the Aegislash, and that Regieleki is sealed up by France, while meanwhile Spain is taking the Registeel downstairs.
Yeah, so all hope on David here. He's got to try and stall not just 3, but the Regieleki as well. Oh, they're a little bit far away from the goal. However, that's a real shame. Did his best, but no reinforcements until that first zone is down. That said, Spain still with the points lead, and they're going to be able to probably get a couple of picks here. Although that said, the Tyranitar's coming out the Unite move. Down they go as well. Unfortunately for the Mr. Mime, they are not going to be able to get away. You can see just how powerful the power swap still is, but it's nowhere near as powerful as what we've seen it before. Now the Trevenant Unite move coming through, but reinforcements for France, they should be able to hold this. A lovely bit of shielding there, keeping them off the point. It's another 4 down for the Bliss. He should be helping with the stacks there. David still up and about. This is the advantage of Horn Leech, of course. So much recovery, and now in comes Sishu. Massive, a real miss with the PS de Resistance, although Saryu's still going to go down as well. This fighting keeps on going, Stacks.
Tyranitar are going to try and get into the action themselves. They see everybody low, and that's a hungry meal there for a big dinosaur. They're going to try and convert, getting through the bees, and they're pushing forward. They got some support now in the form of Mr. Mime. Stisho going to try and peel down and get out, and I think the poor Dave is going to be able to, as well as France finally relents and backs off for just a moment.
That was a long, extended fight, but let us take stock of the points lead. Let us take stock of the fact that during all of that madness, Spain was able to take down that tier 1 zone on bottom path for France. If they're going to continue with this strategy of prioritizing the bottom Reggie first, then they have got themselves a perfect scenario, a clear gate to rotate up. They don't have to go back to base. They could just head up through central area just because they don't have those speed paths to help. Saryu and Ichthys moving forward now to try and seal away these clouds. But hey, this is why you got the curse build on your David Trevenant, right? You have got so much sustain. You've got the ability to nick things away at the last moment. Saryu caught out of out of position, speeds away and manages to use that second grassy slide to complete their escape.
Yeah, and that's slowing down Adesu just enough so they couldn't jump back on top of them. Eichels were going to roll downstairs. As we're taking a look as Human Stisho and Spain is pushing this top goal zone. That's where they want. They're looking for the engage. It's just the Zarina. They're trying to hold it down, and they're getting smothered by the Buzzwole. Buzzwole looking incredibly strong and much different than we did before as the Azumarill for France takes the Reggie Rock downstairs. Of course, the basement Reggie, but Spain has the positional advantage all over the Regieleki right now. Classics trying to find their way in, see if they can be a hero with a heavy slam. But they're a day late, dollar short, and they're going to have to throw up some blocks. France counter push in the basement.
Oh, they're still not able to get that first zone, and now they're going to head back to base. And that's actually really good for them because Spain had committed forces down to that bottom path to try and defend that first zone from going down. Of course, advantage for France as well is that defense and special defensive buff with the shielding of the tier 2 zone is going to make it real difficult to push on through. Some nice work from Stisho again with the King's Shield. Eventually going to take down the Tyranitar. Here comes the Trevenant ult as well and the Showstopper. But that's, of course, France's Showstopper. There's a shield as well from the Snorlax from Classics. Down goes Serena. The push still coming through from Spain. It's sustained. It's pretty decent, but ultimately it is going to come to a halt unless that Blissey ult can change the day.
Looks like the Blissey ult is doing tons of work here, but the Tyranitar's picking up speed. 3 down in the face of 3, and the push, the HP lead is in the way of France. Can they take out this Azumarill? This Trevenant's absolutely popping off, getting a KO streak of 2. The Regieleki is on shred, and finally Spain peels back to take a deep breath because that was a lot of action in a short amount of time.
Great time wasting as well. Although it was a short amount of time, it was time well spent because yes, that Regieleki ultimately too little health to worry about the push, but good picks, good experience picked up by Spain, and they know that in those sorts of engages, they can come out with the trump cards when all is said and done. We're only a minute and a half away from Rayquaza, of course, 22 seconds away from that bottom Reggie coming through. Surely this tier 1 zone is just administration for France.
Yeah, this lead is very slim for Spain now, 216 to 169. And right now we see Human getting everything they can because they use that late Bliss assistance onto the Buzzwole, and they want that back for the next big showdown that we're going to see in the middle.
In terms of levels, by the way, pretty equal across the board, actually. In France, they are ready for that Regice, of course. Used to be most useful for the just global XP boost. Now, of course, with a little bit more health regeneration as Rayquaza joins, and France is going on the attack!
Mime Unite comes out and they're peppering through 3. That's a ton of damage as David is going to try and lean back the other way and buy some time for the squad with that Trevenant. They're going to play forward and so does Adesu. They see if they can cut off France in any of these bottlenecks as the sword's already working through Rayquaza. They catch him in the bottleneck and here we go. Snorlax is chipped up, slam down, and they're smothering this thing. Frontline player forces out the Unite move and now they get the boosted auto by the sword. Azumarill peeling back. Snorlax caught on the backside of nowhere and Spain has the positional advantage on this Rayquaza now, not interested in touching it, trying to find their way to this Tyranitar. Tyranitar sees the way, but the Bliss assistance pulls all the way forward. It's on the Desu, of course, and they're moving forward and they're trying to find themselves another KO. The Zarina's down. The Aegislash is actually who picked up the Bliss assistance. They use their Unite move back the other way, and finally the first player for Spain goes down, and is that going to be the crack that lets the water through the dam? We're going to see if they can convert. Classic's already back in the action, but it's 3 down for France, and I'm running out of breath. Relic, take over, Chief.
I absolutely will for you. Well done, by the way, as we look at this. This is a final respawn, but down's Mr. Mime, down is Tyranitar. Shiro's stuck in the central area. Spain, they've had 2 downs as well, though. Such a long team fight that the reinforcements are continual. The reinforcements are just not falling in the favor of France. Spain, they've been able to sustain it for long enough. 40 seconds left. They still have this advantage, of course, with Snorlax scoring a good 28. And now, it's 1 point away from the lead. Something's got to give.
But Sorayu using their Unite move and peeling up to that goal zone. That 5 is going to be 10 points, and that's going to put them ahead here. And now Spain needs to make a move. They need to get some points, and they find themselves down on the scoreboard that they don't actually know that. Another Mime Unite comes out. It catches 3, and they can convert huge on the KOs. There's the first one, and it's on a Desu. Humans forced to retreat, but they might go score as they're still tracking it down. Mr. Mime getting credit for a ton of them. Eichel's looking good and heating up. This Trevenant's getting low on HP, and it's still France. Can Human get these points in? They're the last-ditch effort. They need all 26. They have a score shield. No, it's broken, and France is going to win this game.
No, I think France just lost. I think Spain had the win. I think Spain were 1 point ahead, at least last when I checked, unless there was a sneaky score there.
No, the Zarina used their Unite move, peeled up, and scored 10.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, no, that is exactly what I missed. Wows as well, Spain. you gotta be. I mean, this is almost a carbon copy, really, of their first game against Germany, where they looked so good for the win, and then in the final 30 seconds, it just all falls apart. 9 points ultimately deciding it between the two of them. Serena, the big change. I mean, that Unite move, I saw it coming through. I'm like, okay, use the Unite move and then get out of dodge. But you've got yourself an extra 10 points, which makes the difference. And Spain, funnily enough, Snacks, their actual strategy was sound, but because they were wasting so much time, they didn't leave any for themselves to try and put forward a rebuttal.
Sorayu understanding that they needed to get their point threshold very, very low to be able to get the scores. I mean, Gies was sitting on the goal zone, just pumping water into their face with like a super soaker, and Sorayu was still able to score kind of in between those gaps. As soon as they did, there was just a 5 AOS energy scoring. They fire off their Unite move, peel up top, get the 10er in, and that's the difference here. Less, just a single-digit lead here, 9 points. What a showdown by France, and showing that if they stick to the plan and they understand the micro decisions that happen in a game, they can eke out a win despite being slid everywhere else on the stat sheet.
It's one of the longest team fights that we've seen as well in that Ray Plaza pit. I mean, my word, I think you were going for a straight 90 seconds there, and I do not blame you for taking a breath either. I think both of us need to take our breath after that. Quite an intense game, number one, and France, one game up on their journey to making the playoffs. We hope very much that you will all be joining us for game number two. It's just going to be coming up after this break.
Sure do like to share your opinions, talking big like somebody's listening. Nobody's listening. It's so fun in games until it doesn't toss me out. I'll hit the ignition. Now you listen. Hop up in the window. Smaller and smaller you fade out. Hop up in the window. You cannot get my vibe, no, there's no way. I'm flying high above all your gravity, trying to bring me down, but I'll never stay. Hey, watch me levitate. You cannot get my vibe, no, there's no way. You can say what you want, call me insane, trying to bring me down, but I'll never stay. Hey, watch me levitate. Watch me levitate. Hey, watch me levitate. Try to paint me like a no-name, so sorry, but we're not the same. No, we're not the same. Boo-hoo, poor you, please forgive me, cause I don't feel any pity. I'm fed up with lies, you wanted my demise, now you're watching me rise. Up in the window, smaller and smaller you fade out. Up in the window. You cannot get my vibe, no, there's no way. I'm flying high above all your gravity, trying to bring me down, but I'll never stay. Hey, watch me levitate. You cannot get my vibe, no, there's no way. You can say what you want, call me insane, trying to bring me down, but I'll never stay. Hey, watch me levitate. Watch me levitate. Hey, watch me levitate. Up in the window. Up in the window. Up in the window. Up in the window.
Watch me levitate, watch me levitate, watch me levitate, watch me levitate, levitate. Watch me levitate, watch me levitate, watch me levitate, watch me levitate.
Watch me levitate. You cannot get my vibe, no, there's no way. I'm flying high above all your gravity, trying to bring me down, but I'll never stay. Hey, watch me levitate. You cannot get my vibe, no, there's no way. You can say what you want,
an irony. My mirror shows the other side of me. All these ones and zeros, nothing in between. But there's so much more to me than eyes can see. Than eyes can see. I'm not binary.
And welcome back, folks. We're just going to be hopping straight on in at the draft phase. I mean, lads, I was there just near enough ready to swap over. Like, this is the first time we've been in the draft. And then they start posting them. And the first one up, Doob, we're looking at the Lucario. I think that's a pretty easy pick right there, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's especially shown its value today and the strength it has. Team Spain not trying to mix it up too much and going with something they know is going to get immediate value. So I'm a fan. Really taking that out of Soreyu's hands here, which is a great start. And France fearing that Buzzwole out of Edesu, banning that.
Yeah, the Buzzwole really showing itself to actually be viable now. Like, the buff's really helping that Pokemon on out, didn't it, Relic?
Yeah, I mean, it was perfect at ice. I mean, especially we saw in that team fight around the Rayquaza pit, we saw the isolation of the Snorlax, forcing it into the power nap, and then ultimately taking it away. Of course, long term wasn't so great for Spain, but hey, the point is that it was successful, and I'm not surprised that France looking to ban it away. But Spain, of course, they've got the first dibs this time around, and so their first dibs will be Mr. Mime. So still very much at the forefront of a lot of these players' minds, but France picking up the Aegislash, and with no early Charizard ban, out comes a Charizard for France. Not a surprise. I'd imagine Geese will be looking for that one.
Yeah, previously we'd seen the Mew and Mime be, of course, like the must picks. Now without Mew there, Mime is left as that must pick alone. We will still see Glaceon be quite a preferred hit, but there's Glaceon's own role, isn't there, basically, as a high damage output, Doob Snacks?
Yeah, that's exactly right. You can kind of see the way France is already building their squad. And we were talking about this a little bit in between the matches. Team Spain has a real opportunity to put together a combination of Pokemon that I think is incredibly strong. And that's Mr. Mime, Snorlax, and Delphox. Delphox you maybe get later on in the draft here, but this is a great opportunity to get Snorlax and maybe a Zarina if you want to keep Team France off of that particular Pokemon. Yeah. So they have really good options, again, to build their team front to back with some of the strongest Pokemon that are still available.
Oh, this one coming on through is definitely to take it away from France as well. Ooh. Going for the T-Tar. I get this as a pick, Relic, you know, being able to take such a heavy late game hitter away from France.
Huge on damage and huge on CC as well. I mean, we look at that Sans. It feels like it should be slower than it actually is, but no, the point is that it's slowing others around you, and that in combination with the Blissey, not exactly the sort of loadout that we were expecting, but something somewhat similar. Of course, the risk that they're running now is that France see what they're doing and are like, we're going to ban away that Delphox. It's been quite a popular ban, actually, over the course of the 3 days as well. But nevertheless, Spain has got itself such a solid foundation to build off that even without the Delphox, as we see Snorlax being picked up then by France, I think that Spain is still going to be okay no matter what these last two picks are.
Yeah, I mean, they've set themselves up for incredible success. Tyranitar can scale incredibly well. You put a Blissey in its pocket, kind of doing its a build your own Kangaskhan type situation, right? And it can look very, very intimidating. France, a good ban here can really open up them to flex into these last two picks and get what we'll call the draft advantage on paper. What that looks like, we'll have to see how this band shakes out. But France has put themselves in a great position as well. Snorlax is great in tandem with Charizard to, pop up the opportunity for Charizard to get exactly the Pokemon it wants, or buy some time for Aegislash to get a deep engage.
Right, big targeted ban coming on through, getting rid of Delphox France there.
Yep.
They don't want Spain to have that, because right now I'm looking at, you want CC, you want range coming out from Spain, perhaps. I mean, you could probably get another, like, Serena, Lucario's off the table, so maybe a Machamp in there, something to really get beefy in the front lines. But you do want a CC for Spain right now, so that's massive from France. Wise pick.
I wonder whether, and this is going to be wild. I'm probably going to be ridiculously wrong. I wonder if we might see the Hooper come out, because we do know it's something that David liked to use in the previous meta. We have seen Hooper before, not really used to their maximum advantage, and you are sacrificing a lot of mid-game, early-game damage, sacrificing it for that, of course, positional gain with the hyperspace holes. But the hyperspace holes, of course, were used more prolifically, I think, just to again, sustain team fights, to get folks out of danger, to bring them back in with a full bat of health. If there was anything that we could really complain about in that final team fight between Spain and France, it was that Spain ultimately ran out of juice by the end of it. Especially with the CC of a Hooper Unbound, that could really turn the tables early doors, plus the hyperspace holes later on could make something of a difference. But the Decidueye coming out for France, not surprised to see a back laner here, someone that can really just poke from a distance. Good counter, I would say, to the Mr. Mime and indeed the Blissey.
I mean, that Decidueye, you say poke from a distance, but it can tear your chest open really quick with some of the Spirit Shackles ripping across the screen. And you dial in a couple of those, and then it's easy work for your Aegislash with those boosted auto attacks. And of course, I mean, you can even have, your Snorlax jump in and block away. Normally, if you're trying to engage, you block into your team, right, to stun into. But you can actually block away to spread some distance between your Decidueye as they're still getting in critical amounts of damage. Decidueye is an exciting character, an exciting Pokemon for me, and I really can't wait to see France leverage that to the best of their ability.
Yeah, and I completely understand what Spain were thinking. Try and not have such a beefy squad over on France with the Slowbro move. And luckily, we've got such a large pool right now, with Scizor being added, that's 42 Mon. Of course, with today's pool, we're just looking at 40, but you've got tons there to then fill it. And so that swap on over to then have a backline is really strong. Another interesting pick that could be strong coming on in, we see Spain have elected for a Dodrio. What do you think of that one, Relic?
It's bold. It's really bold. I mean, of course, Spain's here probably thinking, hey, with a Dodrio, we might very well have won the game, because, of course, it's unique scoring system, divvying up the points, of course. It's incredibly useful on that front, but it is very much a get in and get out on the scoring front. I've not really seen it have too much influence on team fights. If you're going to be going into a battle with a Dodrio, you want it to be a 1v1 or you want it to be a 2v2 maximum. It is not useful in those big 5v5s. So Spain going for a little bit of an off-kilt pick, and I don't mind it, because the first 3 picks that they brought through were just that good. So I think they can afford to do this.
I think what this pick is a very reactionary pick to the Decidueye, because you can unite past the rest of the team and go get Decidueye, and you can easily dust the Decidueye as Dodrio, because, especially if they go Spirit Shackle Decidueye, they don't really have an opportunity for the in-your-face attack and speed that Dodrio has to really kind of dodge those things. So I just off the cuff, it feels like a very reactionary pick from Spain. Okay, you're going to go Decidueye. We're going to counterpick that immediately with Dodrio. And the Dodrio's job is literally going to be stay safe all game. And when you have your Unite move and we call and engage, you go pick up that Decidueye, dust them off the map so we can take care of the rest of the trash.
Right, final pick coming on through is Blastoise. Of course, we did get the Erglos as well step on in as Spain's final pick, and that's a lot of healing being able to be avoided there. Like you said, Dodrio run on their own, and then just the amount of sustain for the other 4. This feels like you've basically got someone that's poking, annoying, doing that sort of greedent thing right in the back lines, and then you've got a big old ball for those main big team fights. Over in France, though, this has got a lot of I wouldn't say viability about itself, Relic, where you can be right in your opponent's face, but you can also split off and take numerous different fights. You don't have to be all huddled together like it feels like Spain might have to deal with.
Well, Blastoise combined with Decidueye, I'm looking at
Yes.
that as a great zone push potential. You know, you got yourself Blastoise, especially on the Surf build, can be so useful. I mean, even if you're looking at the Hydro Pump rapid
Spout.
spin build as well, or Water Spout,
I was thinking
you can clear areas, you can do some good stuff. Of course, we saw a great Blastoise earlier in the day. Eldor, I would not be surprised if we saw the Mr. Mime, Blissey, and or Eldegoss pocket that Dodrio just as a duo going forward. To be fair, I also think that Blastoise, I mean, obviously the Unite from Dodrio can bypass the line, but I think that Blastoise and Decidueye in tandem going to be really useful. Would we have seen a Slowbro had Spain not banned it? Maybe not, but it's once again a draft phase where you're looking at both these teams and thinking they've both got a lot of potential. These two just too close to call, really.
Yeah, two very different bends into which direction they were trying to mold their squad here. I do like Spain, again, that Dodrio feels incredibly reactionary to the Decidueye, and it seems like maybe France forced into that Blastoise to really give a little bit more cover to the Decidueye, more weight and heaviness up front. And the ability to engage, rapid spin, water spout, surf, hydro pump, whichever direction you go in, and essentially to buy time, because they're going to lean on the Decidueye to clean up the rest of the squads, or deal critical amounts of damage so the Aegislash can engage, which means that's exactly what's going to have to be combated. The Dodrio plays into that. I'd like to see the Dodrio and Eldegoss go together, and then the Tyranitar pick up the other two and just run Rough Shroud through the rest of the squad. Leaf Tornado can help Dodrio get out, just enough heal with Cotton Guard, maybe just enough shielding there as well, so they can kind of engage, use agility, get out of there. But of course, it's all up to what loadouts they choose, right? I mean, you can even go attack Eldegoss and get with the Blissey maybe and go that way, or attack Eldegoss with the Mime and hold down a whole lane by yourselves there and kind of do the same strategy everywhere else, right? Let the Dodrio force people back into the Tyranitar and then let the T-Tar take over. So, I mean, there's so many strategies just within the 5 Pokemon they chose. Great loadout. That's what's exciting about pick ban formats. You see a bunch of unique stuff. And the last thing you got to think, all the held items change because they know what the other team just picked. And you can have like assault vests come in and things that you don't normally see to pick up. You might see eject buttons on the Decidueye to get out of range once the Dodrio gets into the engage and buy time for the team to pick them up and square up that defense so they don't go down. I mean, that's the song and the dance that you get and the excitement of the pick ban.
I'm loving this. You just go into theory crafting with all these different strats, right?
Great.
But there's no more theory crafting right now. Unfortunately, Doob, I'm going to have to send you straight on in. We're getting things underway here for Game 2 of France versus Spain.
Look, my goal was to say so much stuff that I have to at least get something right.
just
Solid
spread your bets over, right? And you should be good. To be fair, I also really like the idea of course, you got this Dodrio sort of ghost health bar as well once it's really close down. So on top of its passive, of course, which allows it to run once it's a little bit faster out of combat. I agree. Combined with the Eldegoss, I think that is such a high potential ceiling. But it really does depend on having early success as well. I want to see these two having a level advantage over there, whoever they do end up facing in France. But we see already Classics. Are they looking to specifically defend against an invade? It really does speak to the current meta as to how afraid these teams both are. And of course, Hitai heading onto the Squirtle, soon to be Blastoise. Big improvement, of course, on the Squirtle when it comes to this early game. You can see why that Mr. Mime is forced back into an early retreat.
And now here comes the Desu with the engage, and Soreyu is very low. Good block up, chip up by Classics to keep that, but that is Spain. That Eldegoss was in Larvitar's pocket to make sure that the counter invade didn't happen, but what ended up is they both bubbled up for a little bit too much defense. Now with Desu's on the chase, and they get engaged huge. Soreyu getting one back the other way, and if you're a Doduo, you don't want to be giving up too many KOs early because you are very easy to fold like laundry.
Yeah, that was a ceremonial sacrifice. Desu knew that the days were numbered on this particular go-around, and thankfully the respawn was pretty quick as Classics is going to try and steal away all of these clouds. I don't think they got too much of it, actually. You can see just how much health they did indeed lose in that encounter with 3 on the top path. It's looking like Desu's going to try and team up here with Human and head into the central area themselves. Not a surprise, but unfortunately for them, they've got that top path, continually looking down, continually looking for those abilities to poke onto the top zone, or maybe look for the clouds themselves. We've got another 25 seconds or so before those central clouds head into the area.
Good scoring exchange by Soryu, getting more stacks. It really looks like that's what they're doing, is they're engaging, trying to steal the berries, and Classics is going to be responsible for getting them out. And we see the Kanto starters working hip to hip, trying to get some KOs onto Spain, as Humans holding it down with that Mr. Mime. If there's one Pokemon that can hold down a path by itself, it's certainly Mime, and it's looking good in that exchange. Is a Desu, the Dodrio's down there, and Eldegoss ticks over finally from its previous form into the Eldegoss now at level 4.
Yeah, I mean, they've been a consistent part of that top path fight, haven't they? I'm surprised that they didn't evolve early. They're going to be thankful that they did. But unfortunately, they've got this Aegislash, of course, the Doublade on top path as well. Steals that particular experience away, steals the Bunnelby, as already we're going to Edesu back at base once again. And, oh, that's a lot of damage coming through from the Decidueye. Geese just gets out of town, and it's a good thing. Oh, are they going to get out of town? My goodness, that was close. Almost looking to double back to try and give some health, but the team fight was already over.
Just exploding chests with those arrows finding their mark, and very true. Good look by the Decidueye early, and that's exactly what you want to do. Set it up with your Snorlax, get some KOs back the other way, and that was the exchange that they wanted, and they got positive experience there. So France has to be happy. David is so low, and the sword is they're going to be able to chew them up. The boosted auto gets it done, and Geese just trying to hold back the Snorlax, but to no fruition as as Classics gets their points in here.
Yeah, you know, that early game rhythm that we were hoping for, Spain does not have it. We're really looking at Edesu. Are they going to be able to get into the melee? Well, once again, they sort of run around like, well, they've got 3 heads, but it does feel like a headless chicken at the moment. Sorry, really going to town on this top path. They've been afforded the opportunity to stack more and more, and here comes Sora from the central area. You can see they're immediately going on it. The ultimate coming out from the Decidueye, and Dodrio's just stepping on top of them. They can't hit them. That's a brilliant bit of placement, and they're going to get the KO. Oh my word, Edesu, that was cracked.
Desu showing the skill of Dodrio in the face of a Pokemon like Decidueye, exactly like we were talking about. Classic's going to try and hold it down as they get more support. Can they pin a Desu out? And the Charizard's going to sort it. A little bit of cooked chicken for dinner tonight upstairs. And now Human is forced to try and get some points, and they're just grabbing as much experience off the map as they can in the face of Harai.
And Hirai's doing such a great job of stalling. Here is on the top path once again. France looking to push, and you can already see just how much other... we've hardly talked about that Tyranitar. That's the first time we've seen it, really. And already gone again. And speaking of gone, there goes the first tier zone, just as Regieleki hits.
Yeah, that T-Tar really concerned about getting the experience so they can become a T-Tar indeed. And now that they've hit the map, they're ready to help their squad take over. As France is getting all over that Regieleki, they're going to send that down the path, and Edesu is just getting points for Spain on the backside.
So you got your Eldegoss on top path. They're going to be able to at least halt the Regieleki. Before Regieleki itself was nerfed, maybe that's a little bit worrying. You want at least 2 on that particular Pokemon, but... it's not that much of a worry now, and Spain has rightly rotated round to focus on that bottom Regi. They've taken down the first tier zone of France as well. The points advantage for France, not that great, but we've got to watch out for Classics on bottom path as well. And wow, that bottom Regi so close to once again respawning already.
Yeah, I thought the sword was going to engage. They just pop right over as Spain is able to take care of the Regieleki here. And Stisho gets stitched from just across the map. And we're going to see if France wants to make a push. Spain going to try and hold it down. Big Surf pushes out too. And Human and Stisho are caught away from their squad. Adesu's there. And they use their Unite to get to the backside and see if they can get an engage. But great block by the Snorlax to cut them off. But it's Mime. It opened the door for Human to get in there with the Unite move. And a big time KO with the Confusion Blast. And Blastoise Unite comes out, catches 3. And now it's France down 2, and Spain can convert on this, please. They're trying to find their mark. The Bliss Assist on Human. They get another KO, and Spain is heating up and getting the KOs for that work. And the sword is engaging so deep on France, trying to make Spain pay. And that was a triple with that Unite move to Decidueye. Oh, eking in what? 1 feather to get credit for that? Charizard, 1 sneeze of a flame, but that was all Aegislash work.
That was a beautiful pièce de résistance. We were there looking at Spain thinking, wow, they completely wasted that Hydro Typhoon Unite move there on the Blastoise, but it was completely turned around by such a timely arrival from the Decidueye. The work already put in from the Aegislash. They got the Registeel buff to boot as well. Attack and special attack. They're going to rotate round now to that Regieleki, where we do see actually on top path, Spain have still been able to score. So whilst the team fight didn't go their way, they've still been keeping a sort of secondary peripheral eye on what they can do elsewhere. Regieleki is engaged.
Regieleki is engaged, and Soreu just trying to keep an eye on a Desu, who's playing both in the grass here. Can they find and engage as France is burning this Lecky down? It doesn't look like. Good block by Kha'Zix to buy some time.
Yeah, and unfortunately at this point, you've got Spain who've been able to just take a little bit of a breather. Unfortunately for David, caught way out of position. The question is, are France going to have a hard push here? Looks like it. It looks, oh no, actually they're going to split away here. So, oh no, they're going to try the flank. Yeah, they're going to try the flank. They're going to try and get this zone 2 down. As we see Stisho there on the T-Tar. Again, being a little bit too anonymous, but still very scary, that Pokemon. And France, they're not going to risk anything here. As we see again, that Adesu Dodrio heading to that top one. Just such a, this is like the greed days of old. Just score, just get some gubs and score again, and then get some gubs and then score again. I'm just waiting until that final 2 minutes, Snacks, where they could potentially build up 30, 40, 50. If they are able to get the double scores that we believe that they can, that is a huge positional advantage for Spain.
They're trying to find their way, and actually they collapse back on the Decidueye, run past, and everybody is onto a Desu here. Is that Dodrio on the left-hand side of your screen.
Oh.
Sorey doing a pretty good job holding it down, but there's 20 seconds till Rayquaza, and we're going to see what we can do here. A Desu, it's a great time to get KO'd if you're caught out. I would stop running around and just give it up.
Hey, when you got 3 or 4 Pokemon on you, just keep on going. Yes, we do now have Rayquaza as a part of the picture, but you've allowed the rest of your team to set up perfectly, and this feels like what the Spain strategy was all along. The 400 IQ play, Rayquaza drops, and I wouldn't be surprised to see France engage immediately before that Dodrio becomes a problem again.
Well, France is actually spacing out. Nobody's really on the objective yet. They're trying to find their target, but they've got enough time. Adesu's back in the action. Big Surf catches 3, and the Snorlax engaged by Kha'Zix. The Heavy Slam doesn't hit anybody. The block is going to force them down a different path, but Human says, nope, I'm going to auto-attack straight into that. Eichels comes in, burning them down, and the Eldegoss Leaf Tornado is going to buy some space. Big Unite, but there's only 2 in range. They get chipped up. Blitz Assistance comes through. Charizard sweeps up the Blissey, and now the Hydro Typhoon comes out, and they're trying to convert on these KOs. There's 1 player down for each team, but that France HP is so low. Stisho's on the backside. 3 players down for France, 2 for Spain. Humans on the chase, and their HP bar is full. Is Sora going to be able to get out and stitch in some arrows and buy some time? But it's Eichels going to get a Hundo Burger in with nobody to stop him.
That's dangerous, but it is still only a 30-point lead that France now holds. Spain, they're going in on the Rayquaza. Not a surprise. Whilst everyone is respawning, now is your time to strike. Here comes Eichels. They're not going to get there in time. The Fire Blast, it was just $1 too short. And now with that shielding, now with the split push, what can Spain do?
Well, now what Spain needs to do is score, and France is trying to buy some time, a good block, but that is going up, and the Spain is going up on the scoreboard. And of course, this Dodrio, is this Hundo Burger going to go in right in the guts? Yes, it is. And this lead is stretching out like a yoga instructor, and France is looking off the backside of a loss here. Spain rallying back in a big way, getting good points off the Rayquaza.
No Alolan Ninetales, no Glaceon on the field, but Spain with nerves of ice. Another 44 going to go in for France. It's going to be nowhere near enough. They still need near enough 90 points scored. It's all going to come through this push on the bottom path. More points going in for Spain there as Dodrio gets a couple off. Oh, there goes the Sandstorm. It's another 54 down from Eichels, but it isn't going to be enough because Dodrio keeps on scoring. Spain with a rebuttal. It's 1-1 in the series.
Great response by Spain, and that Dodrio looked great. Tons of scoring, was able to engage deep on the Decidueye, and they find themselves on the positive of that Rayquaza pit fight. They took it well, they spaced well, they got big KOs, united well, the Bliss Assistance came through right at the good time. I mean, Spain was looking sharp, and they understood exactly what they were trying to do there. Great work.
I missed a late 10 score from Sabrina last game. What I didn't miss this time around was Sora and their Unite move in the Rayquaza pit. poorly used, unfortunately. They were stuck on the other side when the battle started to move over to the northeastern side of the map, and they were just ultimately caught out of town. Weren't able to do much else for the ensuing fight, and really then it wasn't exactly an ace, but it was staggered just close together enough that Spain able to take advantage of Icled's going to score 50 on the top path and just get the Rayquaza whilst everyone was still there. A beautifully executed strategy and a headache now for France. Snack says, do you go ahead and ban that Dodrio? Do you target ban them? Or do you try and counter them with your next pick? Such a nuisance.
A nuisance indeed. I'm not too sure what the response would be. Again, I kind of felt like that Dodrio was the response to Decidueye. So I wouldn't put too much, I'm not saying don't put too much stock into it. There's other Pokemon that are going to be available guaranteed that can help you work around specifically Dodrio. So I wouldn't ban it yet. It did look phenomenal, but at the end of the day, it scored a ton of points, didn't have a ton of damage as it was just trying to really engage on one character. So Don't scrap your plan yet, France. Don't go to the drawing board and say, oh, Dodrio's the nightmare, just like we thought it was, and then pen it up on the board.
Yes, your eyes are not deceiving you. You just watched a triple support-led team win a game of Pokemon Unite, and there are hopefully a lot more games of this series to come. It is one apiece in the best of 5. It's France versus Spain. It's day 3 of the Unite European Cup. And Snacks, we are going to be seeing exactly what these two teams can bring out on game number 3. What's going to happen? What's the picks? What's the bans? Who's going to take the next one? We'll find out after this break.
Find
an arrow in my hand. Hear the shadows follow me over the hills in the evergreen. Trade my soul for a chance to carry on into the wild. Na 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 na. Into the wild. To the wild. Into the wild. Hidden fortress. I'm the attack and there's no going back. Hearing voices calling out my name. Got them path laid out in front of me. Sharp knife, headstrong, no time to think. I'm a huntress. I don't know who I am. Hear the shadows follow me over the hills in the evergreen. Trade my soul for a chance to carry on into the wild. To the wild. Into the wild. Na 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 na. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Into the wild. The shadows follow me over the hills and the
And welcome back, folks. We are just getting back on into the draft phase, and well, as you can already see, we've already got some picks. Well, we've got a single pick and 2 bans underway. Doob Snacks, after that last match, Spain have now shown up, and they are scary. We were talking in the break, and I'm surprised they didn't actually go get rid of that Dodrio, because the Dodrio was a massive nuisance, wasn't it?
The Dodrio was a massive nuisance indeed, but like I said, France certainly has other tools at its
True.
disposal to deal with Dodrio if Spain elects to bring it to the table. I still firmly believe that was a reactionary pick by Spain. I'm looking forward to be proven wrong because Dodrio is a lot of fun to watch. But for now, Team France going with Mime because it seems like Mime is the key to success between these two squads.
James, have you been keeping up with the stats? 'Cause I know, like, going into day 2, Mime had a 100% win rate, wasn't it, at that point? Have you been keeping up with that?
Yeah, Group B decided to just throw that stat in the bin. Honestly, that
Good,
was I mean, it wasn't disappointing because it's like, hey, Mr. Mime lost, but it's also disappointing because it's like, that's the one streak that we were sort of keeping an eye on, completely gone and wasted. But yeah, not a surprise to see France bringing out Mr. Mime. Not a surprise to see Spain going for the Aegislash and
Or the Tita.
Tyranitar already locking it in for France. Not a surprise after Spain stole that away for the last draft. But yeah, I think I'm with Doob Snacks in the sense of, yes, I think it was a reactionary pick. I feel like that was something where it's like, oh, Decidueye, let's quickly pick something else. If we do see the Dodrio pick from Spain, it'll be in one of these last 2 spots, obviously, because we've seen Slowbro picks for them. But yes, I think even before this draft, they want to use it as a surprise pick. This time, perhaps a little bit more intentionally than game number 2.
Yeah, but if we look at this right now, you can see Spain's already got, like, the base, I'd say, to a squad quite nicely. So they're allowing themselves to have the surprise picks. Over on the French side, Doob Snacks, what are we expecting them to pull out? I'd imagine it'd be, you know, after this next ban, and hence why Spain's taking so long to ban. But what are the options for France here?
I'm still pinning my hopes and dreams to it that a team is going to end up with Mime, Snorlax, Delphox. So we can see that huge wombo combo between those 3 characters and their Unite moves. So for France, that's what I want on a personal level. But on a bigger picture, you know, I think a Wigglytuff would play great here. Just a true, like, forward-playing tank. And then, you know, another ranged character. And coincidentally, Snorlax and Delphox fill those roles.
Snorlax
never mind.
removed. Yep. I was about to say, but that goes to show that Spain are thinking through the same sort of thought process, right? And they're going, okay, what's the foundations? What's the cornerstone that we need to get rid of? And Snorlax there, when you look at the squads, we've seen France be quite tanky throughout the past and be able to just endure lots of fights. Snorlax makes sense, doesn't it?
Oh, the caster curse is alive and well, isn't it? Well and truly. Yeah, look, you're Spain, you're thinking...
France is scared, by the way. Sorry, I've got to cut on in because Dodrio has been removed.
Oh, really? Wow, okay. I mean, here I was... I mean, look, if you're Spain, pick Delphox, like, immediately.
Yeah.
That is such an obvious pick to go with now, especially with what you've already put up. That is not a lot of CC. That's a lot of one-on-one action. Of course, the Blissey going to be useful in those team fights, but... only to a certain extent. You do want to be able to get everyone in one space, especially with that Charizard ultimate as well, with the Seismic Slam. Tyranitar, obviously scary. So Delphox fits a lot. It ticks a lot of the boxes, I think, that Team Spain are looking for. They are the team that gets the first pick in this second part of the draft. So yes, that is what I'm expecting from them, almost certainly.
Dubesnacks, over the course of today, we haven't seen teams elect to run a Pikachu or a Gardevoir as that sort of like CC from afar pick. What is it about Delphox that serves that role so much better, it seems?
Delphox moves amazingly well. It can kind of like pop in its ability, slide out of the way. It has a great escape ability if it does get caught out. But here we see a Sylveon coming in, the first time we've seen that today, and those Hyper Voice going to be trying to hit the right notes. If you're Spain and you're trying to, the furthest you're looking to play out is the Slowbro, Sylveon makes a lot of sense because you can tuck behind the other two pink monsters there and get some good damage in. Absol going to be looking to put an end to that, however.
Yeah, Absol there, Relic, has the great chance as a response pick to jump straight onto Sylveon and lock that down, because if Sylveon does get that correct distance on the Hyper Voice, it shreds, doesn't it?
Yeah, don't even worry about the Mystical Fire, folks. It is all about the Carmine Hyper Voice build, and that cone effect is certainly decent. Again, if you have CC. Now, they've obviously gone to prioritize the out-and-out damage here with the Sylveon, which isn't too bad, but they kind of are just waiting with bated breath to see whether France pick up the Delphox themselves. I don't know, I might see them going with Blastoise again, honestly, given that was somewhat successful. I think maybe a couple of misplays in game number 2, which led to Blastoise not necessarily having the effect that they were going for. It is another defender.
But this feels like the Mamoswine is to take that option away to try and get rid of the most important predictable CC for Spain here to link up, of course, with the Aegislash and Sylveon, Dubesnacks.
Yeah, I want to see a range attacker out of Spain. I mean, now is actually a pretty reasonable time for the Decidueye. There's not a lot of Pokemon that can really get deep into the face of it, especially with the Blissey, Slowbro, Hyper Voice, Sylveon, and Aegislash all kind of playing walled up in front of it. And it's a great way to convert big arrows into KOs. Cinderace would be good here. Delphox would be great here. Just something with range that really sets up the KOs for your Sylveon and your Aegislash. I think Spain has a lot of good options on the board. Even a Greninja would be huge. For Spain, since Delphox is in their art, I'm going to say Delphox would be a cool pick here.
And here we go. The final pick is a Dragonite. This has got to be the Hyper Beam pick, I reckon. We're looking at that to near enough go for that instant burst damage, and that's the way Spain are electing to choose with to go up against France's squad.
It's got that ability as well. I mean, with its Unite move, it can essentially relocate anywhere on the map. Of course, you're looking at the damage and you're thinking, okay, might be useful for team fights, might be looking for good for securing objectives, sure. But what was the thing that they were most afraid of, France, on that Dodrio pick is the fact that Dodrio kept on poking with the scores. With Dragonite, should they secure that Rayquaza? Should they struggle with the Rayquaza and they might need just a little extra score to get them over the edge? They have got that get out free clause with the Dragonite there and then. And we have seen the Hyper Beam builds before, of course, in the Unite European Cup. Still so dangerous if they are allowed to get up to speed. I think that Spain has actually dealt with this quite well. It does feel like they were backed into a corner a little bit, and the Sylveon pick is still a little bit out of left field for me. But the Dragonite, it's got some tankiness, it's got some great utility to it, and I think that should it get up to speed, I imagine it'll go central area, then it should be a really nice, just rounded out addition to bring it back into contention with that France roster.
Right. I can see the players getting back into the lobby. We have got all 10 in place, so I'm going to be throwing on over to Go and Cast, game number 3 of this matchup.
Yeah, so the idea with the Dragonite, I was kind of speaking to ranged attackers that set up KOs for your front line, but this kind of works in reverse order, right? Hyper Voice, Aegislash goes in, and then the Hyper Beam cleans up a couple. And if there's one thing that Adesu has been known to do, especially in the UCS and other tournaments that they play in, it is lining up multiple players with the Hyper Beam and getting KOs. I can't tell you how many times I've seen them secure an objective and get a KO with the same Hyper Beam. So they are incredibly calculated when using it. It's a Pokemon they have tons of experience with, and I wouldn't be surprised if Adesu is the one that finds themselves on the Dragonite, and maybe a second pick would be onto the Sylveon.
It's a nice dichotomy, actually, to the Aegislash, because we've seen with that PS de Resistance as well. So useful in those team fights, especially when you're looking to just bring it to a close, even if you're not getting the KOs. So useful to just whittle down that health and allow whatever back laner you might have to really pick things off. And so what Spain have is they effectively have the best of both worlds. They've got themselves an Aegislash. They've got themselves a Dragonite with that Hyper being able to do a lot more damage on that straight line of sight, of course. Going to be excellent for the team fights and can lead from the front too. With that Sylveon in behind, I think it's a really underrated build. They've kind of saved themselves, I think, but a lot will come down to that Dragonite and if it can keep ahead of the curve, because of course France is going to be looking at that and thinking, well, that's their special pick. That's what we got to be focusing on.
Yeah, without a doubt. And the rest of the team is going to know that and, of course, adjust accordingly. Adesu incredibly well at maneuvering around the map and getting themselves out of trouble, of course. I keep saying Adesu because in my mind, that's kind of synonymous with Dragonite just from my previous experience. But just Dragonites in general have good abilities just with their Dragon Dance to dive around, dip around the attacks that come through and sustain themselves that way. Of course, just being able to use your Unite move for a small percentage just to retreat is also pretty important, and something that they get back very quickly. So, I mean, I like where the position that Spain has put themselves in, to be quite honest, and France has a lot of work to do because they have to play up in your face, and a Hyper Beam is tough sledding from about 10 feet away.
Yeah, you look at that France roster and you're thinking quite similar to game number 1, which, yes, of course, they did win, but Spain was pretty close in that as well. And Spain, it just feels, although it's still a roster where I'm like, okay, I'm going to wait to see, and hopefully it does work out. I think that the options, the different paths that the Spain roster has at this moment in time, at the beginning of the game, is ultimately what's going to help them, as France has got to basically play a guessing game until maybe the final 5 minutes or so. Some early stacking coming through from France. It's only human on the bottom path right now, but look at that, already up to the Sylveon. It is Adesu on the Sylveon. We're going to see Stisho going onto the Dragonite. Of course, still a Dratini for now, but an early team fight win up here on top path. That is exactly what Spain want to see.
Well, if you think about the AOS Cup, Adesu really put Sylveon back on the map with that split central area, then lane attack or path attack there. So doesn't surprise me you put them in another capable position to help take over the game, and they're already level 5, and that's exactly what they're looking to do.
It's an early scale. It's an early advantage, especially when the clouds come to town on the top path. That's a lot of cleanup, and that's a lot of health taken away for Dave. Oh, my word. Saryu taken away by the single attack. The Slowbro, it's a trade-off here. Stishu able to get back into the safety of the shielding. Forced to concede some scores here from Classics. Pushes them back. Can't get too far, though. But ultimately, quite a nice exchange as Spain has ultimately taken the points lead.
Yeah, David with an absolutely amazing surf going through all the birds there, converting that into a KO where France thought they might have been a little bit more safe. And Guise on the sword hits Doublade in short order. And that's a good look for Spain, and they're off to a decent start.
Very decent start indeed, but don't count out France just yet. Of course, we're looking to the late game for France with that Tyranitar, with that Mamoswine, with that Charizard, all to come as well. The Unite moves could be the makers or the breakers of France once we come to those team fights. 2 minutes, of course, gone. We're awaiting those Reggies. The Clouds gone, cleaned up by France as they look to boost their experience.
Yeah, I can see clearly now the rain is gone, and so are those clouds. Big time engaged by Classics on David, and they get KO'd very quickly. A little bit of revenge for Sorayu on them, as that poor Danger Noodle is trying to hold down that goal zone themselves. They're just level 6, and they're chucking what they can. They're throwing in their best. Geese fortunately getting both berries out from under France, and now Classics is on the chopping block. Deep, big, boosted auto engage. Can they convert on Geese, though? Can Geese get KO'd? It's the Piloswine that gets credit. Classics on the retreat. They skate out, and Stisho's trying to get one for themselves, but it's the Slowbro that gets it. The Dragonair comes through and gets the KO, and they're KO'd back by the Charmeleon, where they're ticked over by the Danger Noodle, and the Blissey gets the Charmeleon back. Come on. They're just exchanging blow for blow here, and the action rages on, as that was Eichels with a great Dragon Breath. Now Humans low, they get KO'd, and there's another player back the other way. The Sylveon gets, then Mr. Mime eats him up, and now here comes Sorayu with the eating. Come on. Adasu's on the chopping block. They get KO'd, and Sorayu says, I'm done with this nonsense. Everybody's going down.
That's a France win, I think. I mean, my word, it's like a domino effect. One falling after the other, and I guess both teams ultimately are happy to come out of that with the result that it was in the end, because at least it was staggered. You know, you could sort of relocate for now. The Reggies are in play, of course, and we can see actually a split push. There is no real need, but the Seismic Slam coming through from France here. They're looking to go for it, but the Blissey Unite move in response. Great shielding as, in comes the Absol, and out they go as well, because the full rotation almost completed for Spain. They've got 4 on the top path. There's an early engage on the Regieleki.
Yeah, it's the Piloswine that has to find their way in, but a good engage by Geese with the boosted auto sorts them out, and of course they get taken out. Absol Unite's going to try and find its mark. Can they convert on it? No, it's Geese. The sword is skewering everybody on the side of France here, as Spain has purchased all the real estate around Regieleki, and they're going to shred this thing to the best of their ability. Hyper Beam comes through, but it's the Charizard just throwing down that Fire Blast, that Fire Ring, getting it done, a Ring of Fire Johnny Cash, and now the Regieleki's moving in the space of Spain. Wow, the face of Spain, not the space of Spain.
We got skewers, we got fire. Who ordered Turkish kebab? But look at this, another great bit of defending here as the slam comes down from the Dragon Knight, and focusing on that Pupitar, still not able to get him with the Hyper Beam, and we just caught the end there. They have evolved onto Tyranitar, so timely there for France as we head to the bottom path now. Saryu, it's another 13 as they continue to build up these stacks. Geese going in, and great bit of play there. The barrier from Mr. Mime, in this day and age, incredible.
Yeah, they're really finding their way into Nua. That Unite move doesn't find its mark, but it does give them a little bit of speed to be able to work through that wall. Shuts him down, and that's a huge KO. Sorayu getting credit for that, but that was a team effort for sure. And now France is going to be able to collapse on the basement Reggie, which this one is a Regirock. Going to be able to get some defenses. The Mamoswine is all over that goal zone, getting their own points in, and keeping Slowbro from being able to engage, forcing out the Unite move from the Slowbro to KO the Absol. But now it's all about that defense and experience that they just picked up, and they're going to try and siege this goal zone. Charizard's holding it down. Slowbro's getting in the mix. They're chucking everything, and here comes the Dragonite. Their Hyper Beam goes wide, but Mr. Mime engages deep with their Unite move. Showtime, Spear Fingers, baby. The Unite move from the Dragonite comes out so they can get the chase on Charizard, and now they're just kind of caught out, as it seems like maybe the action's settling down. Big question mark. Just kidding. Here comes Sorayu. KO streak of 1. Can they take care of Adaisu? No, they get their points in.
Yeah, gotta concede that one, unfortunately. That is a massive 33-point overdone coming through from Sora on the Mr. Mime, and already we've got to turn our attentions to the north path once again, as 15 seconds away from Regieleki, I should say, apologies. But look at Icles. I mean, as soon as we hit that Tyranitar, it becomes so much more scary in combination with Classics as well. And now here comes the cavalry for both sides. Adesu did so well on that solo stand on bottom path. Good thing that they saved themselves, because, oh my word, it's all kicking off. The Absol Unite move. Oh, and the cancel on the Blissey. It's disastrous for Spain, but still, the Hyper Beam damage. Saryu goes in again. Adasu's knocked down, and the full-on Seismic Slam. Is it going to be a win for France? He pushes back the Dragon Knight, knocks out the Dragon Knight, tries to get a bit more damage, but that's shielding on the Tier 1 zone enough.
Mr. Mime with its Unite move back. Bliss Assistance comes through to keep up Geese, and now they're going to be able to get all over this Mr. Mime and get the KO back the other way. This action is hot between Spain and France, and they're about that action as Sora's just trying to make it their way out. The boosted auto sorts that and ends that tragedy real quick. Classics going to look for another way in, and that Regieleki is just hanging out saying, what about me, folks? You guys are chucking so many moves at each other that the Tyranitar's back in the action. They get dusted by the Hyper Voice. That's darkness and fairy typing action. That's from the video games, Chief, as Geese is trying to find their way. Sorayu with the big engage after the wide guard goes down, and finally they're coalescing around Regieleki.
For a solid minute, Regieleki, the Pokemon equivalent of John Travolta. Where is everyone? Why is everyone ignoring me? Well, now everyone's around you. They're the life of the party. And down goes Classics on the Mamoswine. So does Adesu. Great damage from Sayu. Geese not going to be able to survive despite the King's Shield. There goes the tier 1 zone. A 3 KO streak for Sayu.
And 2 for the Charizard. They lock down that goal zone. The Regieleki resets it, but they don't care. They're going to be able to fill their pockets, shred that thing, and send it down the path, forcing Spain somewhere else on this map. And Eichel's just doing the solo job in the basement, taking care of that Reggie and getting that Regice for the squad.
And the score as well. Look at the score starting to balloon. France 213 to Spain's 90. Looking for the invades as well. Not able to get it on this occasion. Sisho with the snipe, but in goes Sayu. Look at the snipe with the claws of his own. Forces Sayu back onto the tier 2 zone. And Sayu forced into retreat. I believe that Regieleki not going to touch that zone. But my goodness me, this game has flown by. Rayquaza already a part of the picture.
Already a part of the picture and a big-time KO. Eichels is going straight for the 50 banger. Can this get cut off by Adesu? We're going to see. The points don't look like they've gone in. They've got 2 players collapsing on Eichels. That's huge. It forces out the Unite move. Can they convert onto KOs? Gies is trying to get out. Forces out their Unite move back the other way, but they get the KO right afterwards. That Rayquaza is melted off the map. France takes it, and now they've got those buffs to score. Eichels is definitely going to get it in this time. That's an easy dunk, Michael Jordan. And Classics needs to get the points into their own as Sorayu's trying to buy time. But it's this Dragonair getting 98 back the other way, but it's not enough, Relic.
You can feel like the helium's going into my voice as well as the score. It keeps on going higher and higher and higher, but the score's going to come through from Spain again. Here goes 24, doubling up to 48. Still not enough. That is a 420 near enough point lead that they need to overcome in a minute. Nigh on impossible from here.
Yeah, especially the way France is playing, which is in your face and heavy and big. Stisho trying to get out, and they got let off the hook by that Tyranitar, who probably could have chased them down if they wanted. But now it's Shiro getting knifed by Gies, and the opportunity to get points in is now. There's the Blissey getting 46 and shrinking the lead a little bit, but they're going to need a heck of a lot more than that. As humans caught out, they get walled, and they get blasted immediately. Stuck there, taking tons of damage, forced to retreat. Can Gies get this Hundo Burger in? Big question. Nope. It's the prehistoric mammoth that gets it sorted out for the squad in France, and Gies is forced to retreat for now, even though they're Hollowware looking crisp.
Looking crisp, looking sweet, looking dapper, but dapper looks are not going to get you the win, unfortunately. France, as soon as that Rayquaza entered the fray, Spain just a little bit of odds and ends, a little bit too disparate, really, in their team togetherness, I guess. And you've got to credit France because they won key team fights. The surrender ultimately coming through. There is no way that Spain was going to get back into that one, no matter how hard they tried. And we've got to salute them for trying nonetheless. That was a huge score to overhaul, but France starting to flex. Massive KOs coming through from Sayu. I am fascinated to see what the total KO score and indeed assist score from this cracked Absol is going to be. 14-5, but don't count out Classics. Massive presence in every team fight he was a part of.
Absolutely. For me, just if we're talking about a particular moment in the game, it's when Eichels went for the score and forced both Adesu and Gies, 2 of the stronger players on Spain, to converge onto them. Then Adesu's forced to peel out there late to Rayquaza, and Gies catches the Tyranitar Unite. They don't even get to do anything in the middle. They use their Unite move and get that stressed out of them because of the Tyranitar pressure, and that let the rest of France take the Rayquaza with no issues. And Sorayu 106k damage, 103 for Eichels and 102 for Shiro. They were chucking haymakers in the face of this Spain team.
I can hear the beef sizzling because that feels like a triple hundo burger, if you ask me. Massive damage across the board. And really, I was kind of surprised because especially when you look at the Eichel's KO assist chart, you're like, did he do that much? Yeah, he did that much, especially in the team fights. And I want to give a shout out to Sora as well. Being brave, picking that barrier, Mr. Mime, when Power Swap Sidekick is all you've heard about for the last 30 days. Worked so well in just closing off, especially Geese trying to go for those escape roads and not finding any joy, finding just dead ends and ultimately being set back to base. That is a massive game 3 from France. And does Spain have anything to rebuttal? I mean, I'm excited to find out. I'm sure you are as well. I'm sure the audience is as well. Be sure to remember to follow Unite Battle Hub. More excellent action on the way as game 4 is after this.
I got nothing to hide.
And welcome back, folks. As we get ready to hop into Game 4, we have another draft pick ban to go through. And, well, we're coming into it with both the Lucario and the Boswell both banned out. This has been a common occurrence all throughout the series so far, hasn't it, Relic?
Mr. Mime, Spain, pick number 1.
How did you know?
Oh, only because Mr. Mime's been the first pick from whichever team had the first pick, and no one's bothering to ban Mr. Mime. That's why Team Spain. I like that. To be fair, Sora, again, we should give Sora some credit. They actually went with the barrier build on Mime, and for that particular build, worked really well. France responded in kind with the Blissey. Not so, again, these teams know what they're good at, so it's no surprise to see a little bit of settling, especially as we see a Charizard come through for France as well.
Dupe Snacks, what are the chances on us just getting the same picks again, right?
I mean, just pretty reasonable, but this is a great opportunity for Spain to pick up Snorlax and Delphox, I'm just saying. Great opportunity for it. I'm going to keep chucking that into the face of these two teams. If they keep letting Mime through with these bans that they're locking up, somebody, please, so we can show off the Wombo combo that is the Delphox Unite, Mime Unite, Snorlax Unite, Heavy Slam combo. Please. Once. Please. Once. Please.
Okay, so this doesn't go in the face of what you want, but it's another understandable one. T-Tar has been so strong in the late game. I can understand why Spain, again, it's another one where it's just we want to take that away from France and have that utility for ourselves. And pairing that now, they're going to be bringing in the Aegis Slash. I like this start in first half from Spain.
Yeah, well, taking the T-Tar away is so critical because France had T-Tar and Charizard in that last game, and you could see that as soon as they reached that final evolution, things just started to. It wasn't exactly a huge escalation, but you could see that France was starting to take the advantage in the team fights. I'm curious to see what Spain's second ban is going to be, though, because the real nuisance was that Saryu and Absol pick. I mean, you could talk about Mamoswine as well as Slowbro comes through for France, countering not just the mine, but really countering all three of Spain's picks thus far. So a really nice choice there from France, but Spain's kind of got a bit of a headache here. Do you go for the Mamoswine? Do you sort of control their ability to CC? Do you go for the out-and-out damage on the Absol? Well, I tell you what, France is scared about that Dodrio. It's the second ban in a row.
Yeah, they clearly see that Spain might use that as their route to success, and they feel comfortable battling some of the more conventional Pokemon here. So they banned Dodrio, not a bad look. And Spain has a plenty of good options here of what they can ban in the face of France. They have the opportunity to ban some very solid attackers out from under France, which might be where I'm looking at if I'm in their shoes right now.
especially since, of course, France have the next pick. So you're trying to get that idea, remove their really vital one, then you've got 2 picks of your own right. It's going to be Absol that Spain look to remove. So again, it's that another assassin type choice, isn't it?
Yeah, and we were talking about it actually just before we came on. It's just the fine margins that won France that game were Saryu and Classics in particular getting into team fights, but being able to get out. It was with a slither of health each time, but that slither of health kept XP off the table for Team Spain. And so there's Delphox on the table. Should Spain want it? Of course, France is going to have the first pick here. Spain will then have 2. Then France will come in with their final, if I am correct, if I have got that wrong. It is a Delphox for France, and that is not a surprise.
Great pick, great pick. Spain, of course, knowing they're probably going to get the defender of their choice since France already locked in and didn't ban any. So Spain did have the opportunity to go Snorlax with a good ranged attacker. Now I'm interested to see if Spain wants to go down that path at all. I mean, we've seen these teams play all melee brawlers and get into each other's faces. Is that where Spain wants to be? I can't imagine it is now that Delphox has hit the map, but maybe they go, Serena. So what that does for them is it allows them to have a lockdown character where you can 1v1 and use the Unite to stun them out or keep them out of the battle. Similar to Slowbro's Unite, similar to Charizard's Unite. It's a good one-on-one attacker here. France going to get the last pick, but Spain might have the potential to get like a Decidueye, Greninja, or Cinderace to help deal with that ranged attacker Delphox.
Just to hold the phone, the Serena has been removed from the sheet. So that might be changed up. It might have been a misclick. It seems it is, as that Serena has now just been changed on over towards a Decidueye.
Okay.
To be fair, I think I would have been okay with a Serena and Decidueye anyway. I don't think that would have been a bad pick at all, because then you've got the one-on-one of Serena. If you're able to get in close to the Delphox, you've also got the range capability of the Decidueye. Again, counters the Delphox, but they might be wanting to go for that Snorlax CC ultimately. That might be a good choice to go with here. Certainly if they've removed the Serena, it suggests that they are not intending on picking it up. Would be pretty funny to see France pick up the Serena, honestly, if that's not the way that Spain's going. But yeah, surely looking at a Snorlax or something else tanky here to just complement what's looking like a pretty good comp, actually.
Right now, this has got to be like one of our slowest periods of picks, right? Where clearly this is coming down to the wire. Spain know that, and they're really having to mull over in their minds what they take off the table from France. And like I said, I think that's also part of why the Serena was put down there first. And it's going to definitely be why, because we just got it on through. Snorlax, like you said, has just been removed, with Serena quickly picked on up by France.
Oh, really?
You're correct.
But, yeah, I mean, it has a great individual to isolate single players, and for Spain, they're trying to do that to Mime, and they're trying to do that to T-Tar. They want to get those players isolated and mowed down as quickly as possible, and they have 3 of the best characters in the game to do so, especially when you can lock them down and burn them into spots with in tandem with Delphox Unites and Delphox support. It's going to be a good look for France, and they're going to be able to pick their targets meticulously. What Spain has to do is get Snorlax in the way, get Mime in the way, and let them be big bodies up front and bail out your Tyranitar, your Decidueye if it gets to that point.
Right, okay. We got all the picks on through for what could be the last game of the evening. Guys, on the desk, I'm going to let you take this one away. Can Spain bring it back, though? That's my last question to you two.
Maybe. Maybe. I mean, the way that this series has gone, I hope that we have a game 5, because it has been one of the best, I think, off-season Unite Championships caliber levels of matches that we have seen thus far. Certainly the best match that the Unite European Cup has seen. But I feel like I'm a little bit worried about France picking up the Delphox for me, because it's sort of been the anomaly. It's either been taken off, or it's when it has been seen, it's not been fully effective, but it was only seen in Spain's hands. France has it now, and especially when you're looking at that Spain comp, I agree with you entirely. I'm looking at that Mr. Mime. I'm looking at that Snorlax, sorry. If they are not able to do their jobs correctly, which is very easy, mind you, in the current sort of situation that they find themselves in, if they're not able to do their job properly, you've got Aegislash, you've got Decidueye just ripe for the taking.
Exactly. And France has given themselves the opportunity, the speed and the agility that Zarina brings can get in to a Decidueye's face and an Aegislash's face and use their Unite move to eat them up very quickly. Charizard has a great ability to, if you're caught out, to make you pay with its Unite move, the big seismic toss, bringing you to space and then back to Earth in the roughest way possible, and then burning you down here. So Spain has a lot of upside to their composition. One, Mr. Mime. Holy smokes. Every team that's picked it up, they've won the game, of course. Mr. Mime in tandem with Snorlax up front is a lot of body and buys a lot of time for your Decidueye. And it's going to come down to France. How are they going to break that wall, break through that wall, and get to those backline characters? And they've selected some good one-on-one Pokemon that can do that.
They got some good sustain as well with the Blissey and the Slowbro. I think that's a really good sort of like foundation upon which your offensive line is going to be built. I don't think they necessarily have the flexibility to push two paths, but that just is down to France to make sure that their decisions are made quick, are made clean, and that they are executed properly. I think that we've seen already that both these teams have the ability to do that. Spain just losing it in crucial moments. We always see when we get to this Rayquaza situation, they either take Rayquaza but are a little bit too far behind to make a difference, or they lose Rayquaza and then the score starts to get out of control. So really, I'm looking at that end game scenario. Spain needs to get there first within a reasonable points margin or with a points lead and hope that they can win that team fight first and foremost, and then where they go from there, I'll let the professionals deal with that.
Well, yeah, they're going to be the ones on the sticks, and we just gave them a laundry list of stuff they have to execute on if they want to try and get this win. Spain trying to hold on and keep this thing alive and bring their record in this event to 1-1. And of course, France trying to get that express lane and not have to sweat it too much until they play on Saturday, where they're already going to be locked in if they get this 2-0. France on the doorstep, and Spain trying to lock them out.
It's an important, I guess, aspect of this series to consider, and this game in particular to consider. Spain, they lose, they're gone. Spain, they lose, the UK is gone. There's a lot of eyes on this game, and it's down to Spain to, I guess, upset the apple cart. People were looking at France and labeling them as favorites for the tournament. I don't blame them. It's an incredible squad, but Spain has shown that they can hang with their best. They just got to believe in themselves and hope that when it comes to those clutch moments, they come out on top.
Well, Geese trying to bounce on the bounce sweep very early with Stisho here, and Geese has picked up the Snorlax, switching Pokemon in rolls almost every single game, it seems, as the Snorlax is looking to peel back. Classics and Sarayu are relentless. Good little skate by Stisho to get out just in time.
Yeah, and it's a nice bit of recovery as well as they re-engage and do really good amounts of damage. Classics! Oh, they're going to be able to get away with it. Oh, the Shadow Sneak! Just before the shielding came in. It's a double KO there for Stisho. Early points on the board. Here comes Sora as well. Sora's actually, apologies, different team. I was thinking, Delphox has got to be Spain. No, it's not Spain. They're going to chase away the Aegislash, but great rotation in from David, actually. Again, shoring up the lines on this top path.
Yeah, and Geese looks like they haven't even been in any action at all. They are buff, big, and tons of HP. They're able to flop all over these birds and get the good pressure in that the team squad needs. But that is going back the other way. The Steenie getting the KO there. And now Spain is forced to sit on their goal zone as France has the player advantage in the top path and Spain retreating in the bottom path as well.
Geese with a little bit of overestimation there on just how long the rest was going to sustain that fight for David, and Stisho forced back, and so nice recovery from France there on the top path. But as you say, rightly, Spain ruling the roost on the bottom path. The Mr. Mime down there, finally the evolution onto Charizard for Shiro. We're going to wait to see that Delphox, of course, which is now recently evolved, heading up to top path once again.
Jumping on top of Eichel's, good barrier and good little confusion blast there for onto Eichel's to do a good chunk of damage, force them to retreat. But everybody's coalescing in the middle. Looks like Spain's getting in a good little jump in by the Charmeleon there. And the KO on the Pupitar, that's huge. They're unable to get out, but they get experience, and it's the Delphox getting big now.
It does a surprising amount of damage, certainly. I think that a lot of people look to it as a utility attacker, but it really can, especially with, if you're looking at a Specs run, if you're looking at any sort of Spatak build, you're going to find yourself with a lot of joy as, once again, we see 3 here on the bottom lane, looking to press the advantage of Desu. Oh, look at that sustain from Eclairs, a lot of recovery, but it is 2 versus 1, still around, but now it's going to turn. Oh, the tables have turned. Oh, it's now a 3-on-3, and away goes a Desu, almost pays for it.
Mr. Mime buys him just enough time to get out, as that's a big time nap by Gies in the bottom path, just giving enough time for the rest of Spain to retreat and give Human the opportunity to get some of these birds in the middle here, as Decidueye still trying to power up. That's a Desu that's picking up the Decidueye.
Yeah, we have our first set of Reggies now, and France not in the best place to rotate round to Regieleki. They've got 2 on top path, not really squishy, but the good news for them is that Spain, they've been forced into respawns. They've been forced into a nasty situation, and Stisho has been forced out of top path. In comes the Desu for support, as is Geese. We're looking for that rotate round from Spain, as Mr. Mime remains to look over that Regirock, to look over their goal zone, but look at the picks from France. Down goes all the offensive capabilities. That is almost a tier 1 zone down with 3 simple scores. They now turn their focus to Regieleki.
Shiro bullying David a little bit, and they might be able to get this KO. They do, with just the last lick of flames from that burn mouth. And that Charmeleon's going to be able to peel up in a big way, as the Delphox has just been working on Regieleki the whole time. Big time arrow. They left it just short enough so they could seal it up. And that's a well-scouted opportunity by France. Seeing that the Decidueye had the opportunity to steal, they didn't deal enough damage. Now the engage is happening. Heavy slam and a block is going to buy time for Stisho to get out. And they do, but Gies pays the price for that.
Oh, this is brutal, and here comes the fireworks, and here comes the engage from France, who are looking to push this advantage well and truly into Spanish territory. It's the Inquisition, but not of the Spanish kind, and is looking to do a lot of damage here as Adesu's back into the shielding. Sorry, caught on the other side of this, though. Lovely escape through the wall there with the grassy slide, but they're going to pay for it maybe, surely, almost certainly with 4 on your tail. Nice defense from Spain in what was looking like a real hairy situation.
Phenomenal defense by them, pulling out the Delphox Unite and making it essentially look wasteful as Spain racks up that good defense. Now they're getting positional advantage. The Regirock is getting leashed towards Eichels, and that's a good opportunity for reset. That's a huge block into the Mr. Mime, and that's part of that tandem that I was talking about. Charizard going to come through and try and burn it down, pulls up the seismic toss and suplexes the wrong character, as Spain is able to take the objective, and they're pushing all over this Charizard. It's trying to put some heat to the Spain's feet, but they are getting the objectives, and they're able to pull out. Delphox Unite comes out like that thing responds too quickly. Can they convert on this thing? Mime gets out, but it's Snorlax playing very far forward. Gies buying time for the squad, and now the Tyranitar finds his way in. Can they get a KO? Can they convert? They get 2. Are you kidding me? They get 3. The sword is heating up. The Tyranitar is there. Snorlax is on there, getting credit as well, and the Slowbro getting KO back the other way, but Spain looking very crispy in this bottom path.
Collateral collaboration. Spain with a beautiful secure on the Regirock, leading into what was a team fight where I thought, okay, they're in a bad place here, but they recover so well. And that defense and special defense buff, so timely as well, especially as that seismic slam came down from the Charizard. Could not have timed it any better. Win the team fight, don't get many scores off, but the scores are pretty close as things stand. They don't have to worry about it. The engage in central area now as they look to try and take down Classics on that Blissey. Oh, another pickoff from a Desu. Forcing Shiro back, make that a twosome. Oh, a Desu on the Decidueye, sniping beautifully.
This is your modern day Robin Hood, shooting arrows from long distance, always finding their mark. That one, of course, goes a little bit wide. But the Delphox looking to gauge back on Tyranitar, who's at half HP. Spain looking good, and this scoreline could not be closer.
Low health, though. Low health for Tyranitar and indeed for Aegislash. That is a Seismic Slam, a solo Seismic Slam as it turned out. Needed to get Tyranitar out of the picture. I think Spain quite happy to try and go for the pick. It's another bit of a panic button press there as the arrow shoots, finds its mark, but is not able to seal away the Regieleki. But Spain not looking to push the issue too much. They are sitting pretty on that second zone, and they can divvy up the responsibility here. They've lost their top zone. They can focus on that second zone now with Regieleki on it. Meanwhile, Mr. Mime, at the moment, holding down the 4 tier on bottom path. I think it might go down in pretty quick succession until here the rotation comes through.
Yeah, I was getting a little excited seeing just the one-on-one on Blissey, and he gets caught out by the Charizard, who's now working on the Registeel, and Gies is responsible for trying to protect this goal zone, and it's a Desu that's going to have to stitch it in to try and convert. Big-time arrow through the Blissey, and the Slowbro gets popped up, and Stisho, they can collapse on them if they want to. They got a couple Unite moves to use here, if this is where they want to use them. Deep engage, big push, and it looks like this is just chucking moves into each other before the final Rayquaza fight, getting some KOs is Spain. 1 player down for France. They don't want to overextend their welcome. Human comes in. It looks like they're going to settle it out for just a moment.
Yeah, Geese and Adesu. I mean, look, these two are Nouns esports teammates. They know each other like the backs of their hands and ultimately working beautifully together. It was a good time to be knocked out, if you take my meaning. You're going to respawn back in time for this Rayquaza, and Spain know that realistically they need it or they need a team fight. They're not going to be looking for that shrubbery sneak, for that sneaky double score, even though something small, a 20 or a 30 is going to be enough at this stage. Rayquaza lands. How's Spain going to handle this?
Well, Spain is floating around and they're trying to pick somebody off. Everybody's dancing around each other. They're trying to decide who's going to engage first. Oh, France decides to rip it here, throws some damage, see if they can leash out Spain a little bit, but they're not willing to bite. Adesu's arrow goes wide, and now it's the Tyranitar pushing very far forward, and France and Eichels is getting all the real estate on the Spain side of the board. Aegislash is caught out. That might be devastating. Stisho's going to go down very quickly, and that's going to be the impetus to convert. They've got the players and numbers advantage. Big time Unite gets another KO, and they're pushing in the face of Spain. Are they going to pivot straight back to Rayquaza? It looks like they are, but Human is still up for Spain, and they've got to move to make Zarina kill streak of 2 onto Spain. Are you kidding me? Soraya absolutely cracked. My Unite comes out, but it's nowhere near Rayquaza. They burn them down, and it's just the Snorlax. Spain's prayer lies on the sleepy Pokemon. Can it get in there? Geese uses a big time Unite, and if they're just pressing gamers here, they've got it. And holy smokes, France has got the buffs. They've got the coinage. Can they get the points in? It's ducket time. We're under 2 minutes.
It's time to wipe the S off Spain, my friends. That is another Rayquaza fight, another Rayquaza moment, which they have lost out in. They're shielding far too much, and Stisho very much the domino at the front of the train flicked over, and the entire line collapsed spectacularly. France, though, gotta give them so much credit with Sora on that Delphox, truly the difference maker. Adesu doing everything they could on that Decidueye, some amazing plays, but simply put, France too much.
France is too much. France looking to move forward in the dance here as Geese is getting burned down, and now we're just in garbage time as everybody's trying to pad their stats so those numbers look just a little bit better, Alec.
Sacre bleu. No, sacre who? The name is France, and remember it, because they, along with Germany, are heading into the playoff stage for the Unite European Cup. Spain, you got to look at them. You got to look at that team and say they are so unfortunate not to be going through to that playoff as well. Every single game that they have given us so far has been a thriller. What a fantastic team to watch. But France, with that synergy and in some crucial drafts, in some crucial endgame scenarios, they just come through with that X factor, that very much that pièce de résistance that we talk about on Aegislash so much. And ultimately, we don't want to say wiping the floor with Spain, because that is very unfair, but showing their qualities to the utmost extreme. We talk about execution. They executed perfectly.
France was dancing around the middle, and so was Spain, looking for the opportunity. Unfortunately, the opportunity came when Stisho was caught out, and and Sora was able to collapse on top of them, get the big time KO. And Tano, I believe it was with Eichels, and after that, it was all systems go. The Unite started flooding out. They were jumping on top of David, got that quick KO, and then it was, you blinked and you missed it, and it was just Geese left trying to heavy slam and power nap into the middle of the map. They were pressing gamers on France, took that KO, sealed up Rayquaza too easy. And you're right, move that S from the front of Spain to the end, nothing but pains for the players on that squad as they got sorted out in a good way. France moving on.
And let's give a big up to Classics as well there. Not just 100,000 damage taken, but 1,000 damage recovery as well. Often we see in the Zapdos era, supports, you don't really talk about them that much. They're a little bit quiet. They do their business. They get on with it. This one of those quiet games for Classics on the KO, on the assist front, but you don't really want that. You want that recovery and able to keep France motoring as we unfortunately are motoring towards the end of the stream. Digital Bacon, we got to bring you back here, buddy. It's I can't believe it's over. Day 3, it went so fast.
Yeah, this is just absolutely rip past, considering that right at the start of the day, of course, we had a little bit of a delay to get things running because Twitch was having a couple of issues their end. But I think Germany got us back on track. Let's bring up the schedule, actually. Germany was at 3-0 versus UK. Germany are just looking like top dogs right now, but France are Oh, they're something fierce, aren't they, Doob Snacks?
France very much so showed out. Spain drew everything they could out of this French squad, and they got it done. They made great choices in their drafts, great picks, and that is really what it came down to. And finally breaking the mime curse that these two teams had going back and forth. Spain getting the mime, but France, with their draft and their bans, finding a way around that and navigating themselves to a 3-1 victory in that matchup.
So that near enough confirms Germany and France to be going through to Sunday, going right on through to the finals. But Relic, we've got a whole nother group over there. You can see it just waiting in the wings. Group B, they're going to get their time to shine both tomorrow and Friday. But tomorrow, let's have a little look at these matches. It's all about Portugal, buddy.
Yeah, it is. And this is honestly such a close group to call. We imagine Italy probably going to make their way through with just the comfort that the roster has. 5i plus Klaus 8, if you were unfamiliar at this point. Switzerland, of course, getting an important win over Sweden yesterday. Sweden, there's some signs of life, but definitely lots to go away and think about. Portugal with the rather magnanimous I don't know, like record, I guess you could call it. I don't think they want to call it a record. They don't want to call it an achievement in any way. The lowest score achieved in a UEC game at, what was it, 14, I think it was. To be fair, they were going up against a really strong Italy squad. Again, we expect them to top the group. And so, again, to get a win against them, probably good, but this is make or break for a lot of these teams. For Switzerland, they have a chance to go 2-0 up. For Portugal, they got a chance at redemption to go 2-1 up to make things really interesting on the final day of Group B. For Sweden, similar. I mean, they go up against Portugal. Is that a relegation game potentially? Who knows? There's so much to look forward to tomorrow, and I can't wait to get stuck in.
Yeah, like it is still entirely open over in Group B. And well, speaking of opens, why don't we just chill a little bit? Let's just talk about our little thing going on here. Then we've got the Open Series going on. Folks at home, this is the Open to Everyone series, essentially. If you're there, tuning on in, you're thinking, you know what? Competitive Unite looks a little bit fun. Well, head on over to the Discord, head on over even to the subreddit r/Pokemon Unite. You'll be able to find us. Or to make it even easier, we've put the command in Twitch chat right now, !open. We'll find you all the links to these tournaments. Each Tuesday, we run a different tournament for a different region. The four main regions, of course, being APAC, EMEA, North America, and LATAM. Pick whichever one is relevant to you. And one person that has definitely been relevant to us today is Doob Snacks. Buddy, we have loved having you on not only the host desk with us, you know, talking about all the things, going through the drafts, but your casting. It's been a pleasure to have you here, dude.
I can't thank you all enough for inviting me, having me out. Maybe I'll be able to truck and trailer onto some of this Open Series action because I love casting the game. Hanging out with you all has been phenomenal. Shout out to the both of you. Shout out to everybody tuning in, Pump, putting this thing together. Everybody involved with the European Cup, Unite European Cup, and of course, everyone else I may have missed. Peace, love, and hugs. You're the best.
We've loved having you on board. But tomorrow, me and James will be sticking around, but we'll be bringing back on a familiar face. Relic, we've got JJ can join us again, buddy.
We do. The man is staying up at crazy hours once again, and I don't blame him either. Why wouldn't you want to stay up until crazy hours to watch what we